Hello and welcome to the AEW All In Texas review. I'm Michael Sidgwick, joined by fellow Dudley boy Michael Hamflett to discuss everything that went down, and there was a lot of it on Saturday's show. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure to subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and YouTube for daily wrestling podcasts where we preview and review Dynamite, Collision, Raw, SmackDown, the show formerly known as NXT 2.0, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have wrestler interviews on occasion and question and answer time where we answer your burning wrestling questions. We have roundtable discussions and we host a roundup of the week complete with a bloody good quiz, of course, on wrestle culture. Hamflett, what were your broad thoughts on All In Texas?
Excellent. And those are the broad thoughts. It was excellent. It was a real... we've used, and I understand why this might be a bit delicate for some fans, we've used AEW's WrestleMania as a way to sort of classify what value All In should have to AEW at this point as a company. It's the kind of thing they've needed. And in the same way that it's very important that WrestleMania peaks high for it to feel like a WrestleMania, even if when we go into the minutiae, not a perfect show. This nailed, and I mean nailed, no pun intended, guys, the peaks on this show. Like, the peaks were amongst AEW's highest ever. It couldn't have felt more like a company that has got all of its creative flair back. You're itching for the post All In Dynamite and all the fallout. Like, I wish it was tonight. You know, I've been wishing it was tonight since the end of All In.
Yeah.
It's, and just briefly, because we are going to cover WWE stuff elsewhere today, I think it's relevant that we mention WWE's particular attempt to counter-program it here, because
It was a dismal failure?
It was a dismal failure, and maybe it wasn't because I've literally just talked about them in the intro to the All In review.
It was still a dismal failure.
In terms of our bubble, which is really what they're looking for, they've said as much, they're looking for conversation rather than business metrics. They know they're going to be the number one wrestling company. It's about how much can we throttle the number two. When All In had such highs and had such incredible moments in front of a building that looked, for all intents and purposes, like a 40, 50,000 WrestleMania setting, the way that was framed. For WWE to somehow still position this massive night for AEW as if they were the babyface, scrappy underdogs fighting from underneath and winning from underneath with creative and expression so fantastic on this show was the biggest own goal of the Fed's counter-programming failure this weekend. And I'm saying that as me. Like, I got some positive things to say about some of the WWE stuff, but that, in our little world, for me, is the overwhelming failure on WWE's part to be able to somehow position this big-time AEW event with huge consequences and more things to look forward to as like how was this show of all shows the little engine that could fighting back? Like, an enormous own goal by WWE to give AEW anything other than a narrative of, oh, we are a challenger brand and we're fighting back. We know AEW serves more of a purpose as when it can call itself and present itself as the underdog. And look at the show. There was nothing underdog about this other than the fact that they were made the underdog by WWE's like stupidity. Like, I am so, and I say this sitting here to you, I am so happy that this show was just as fantastic as it was on its own merits, because the one thing underpinning it was, they are the big bad and we're the baby faces again. And I texted you the next day. We've kind of seen it on the horizon for quite a while. I felt it about WWE from the Netflix debut, but this was the night. This was categorically the night, especially considering that it went up against Saturday Night's main event specifically, where there can be no doubt critically and creatively that the pendulum has swung.
Yeah.
This was the night.
Some of the creative choices and everything that converged to make those choices possible, and the feeling and the sentiment was at the peak of this show, seminal, transcendent, near perfect professional wrestling. Exactly why I have all along, apart from a little period where I was maybe gotten to in December 2019, but after that, I've always held them to the highest standard, particularly throughout 2023, late 2022, a lot of 2024. There was some pushback to that from some of our listeners of at what point do you, stop doing this, or do you stop doing these state of AEW addresses or go into quite such pedantic, granular detail? All In was the answer to all of those criticisms of this podcast. Not that we get many. We've got a wonderful core of listeners, but it was hard to ignore at a certain point. I knew that this promotion, if it got its head down and its priorities sorted, was able to conjure the literal magic that was All In Texas. I knew it all along. I believed that they could do it. I never thought it was never going to happen. I always said, just stop doing dickhead, idiot, gotten two things and shut up for at least 6 months and get something building. They did it, and they paid it off magnificently. In case I forget, in the main event, like, John Moxley could not have done his job any better. I mean, he could have not, kidnapped the Rock and Roll Express or feuded with Cope. After that, in terms of what he wanted to do, how he eventually achieved it, and the sheer quality with which he did it last on Saturday and in the 2 or 3 months leading up to it, absolutely magnificent. And a note on the aesthetics of the show, you had a great take in our WhatsApps. If they'd done the WWE thing and lied and said there were, 35,000, 40,000 in this building, you would have went, yeah, okay. Shot it magnificently. It looked absolutely amazing. It looked not unlike a WrestleMania, but also, and I think this was obviously a natural consequence of the building that they ran, i.e. a big, massive baseball and not an American football stadium. In terms of the seating layout, this had sort of a not the best impact on the atmosphere, at least watching it through TV. It was very similar to the Tokyo Dome, I felt, in terms of the ambience, a lot of the setup, and the way that when it was loud and when you got that rush of, oh my God, fans are watching one of the most special moments in pro wrestling history, it was incredible. It's quieter than a quiet, intimate building during those lulls or the periods of build. We said all along, somewhat facetiously, keep it at 4 matches, because those 4 matches are going to be unbelievable or special or whatever in their own way, and they were. They absolutely were. So without further ado, let's get to the opener. It was the Ops defeating the Death Riders, who on the night were made up of Gabe Kidd, Katsuyori Shibata, and Claudio Castagnoli. Yeah. And I've got a little bit of inside Cassidy Sidgwick baseball on this, as I'm sure Hamflett will as well, in terms of how I watched and who I watched it with for a little bit. So the first 2 matches, I was joined by different members of the household. The first match I watched with my wife, because in a rare Haley's Comet rare event, my children, who being siblings, they will naturally squabble, have their own interests, and they were just enjoying each other's company upstairs. And I was like, do you want to watch it? And the reason to my wife, and the reason why I was a little bit, if you must, she, by her own admission, has got a heavily analytical brain where she's a PhD. One of 2 people in the household to have a PhD. No, she's the only one. And but she has this thing, right, where she likes a British procedural drama where she doesn't like pretentious things an awful lot. If something presents itself to her as, like, I don't know, high art or a masterpiece, she'll often roll her eyes at that.
Unpretentious type plotting. I've got just a show for her, but that's for another day.
No, she knows what slop is as well. To the point where, because she's like so clever in the science field, which is prominent. If she's the sort of person, right, where, if you're watching like a film and a character is having like a beer at the bar, and in one shot there's like a rare continuity error, where like the pint's half full and then the next shot it's full, she'll go, that was full. She can catch those. She can catch those. So she's got this heavily analytical brain. Let's just say that imported strong style does not work for her. Why they're just hitting each other. And so the whole point is, this is when like Shibata and Gabe Kidd were doing their chop war. And I was like, well, they're willingly accepting the punishment so that they can prove to each other that they can take it better. And she went, that's stupid. And I went, in a real fight, and I was like, yeah, you can go upstairs if you want. You're not going to get it. But if you want a completely casual fan's perspective, and we'll go into ours, of course, obviously, she watched this. She was half laughing at it, half pulling at the thread of the entire very wobbly internal logic of how professional wrestling matches go.
Yeah.
She loves Powerhouse Hobbs.
Ah, there you go.
Absolutely love Powerhouse Hobbs. Like, he's got charisma. He's something. And then she just zeroed in on Powerhouse Hobbs and just really liked him. The match was, 14 minutes. Didn't necessarily feel it. At this point, I'm thinking, yes, we're doing New Japan sequencing. They did not do that. Well, to a degree, they kind of did, but they didn't at the same time. Not amazing. And this is one of the matches where if the fans weren't completely emotionally engaged throughout, that sort of dome-esque lull in the volume and the ambience could be kind of felt. I think it was just, honestly, maybe AEW production has got a little bit to do with it, but I think the general ambience of this seating setup isn't going to... I know it's weird. It's quiet when it's quiet, and it's loud when it's loud.
Yeah.
It's like the Pixies dynamic of a goddamn professional wrestling show, you know? Nice interactions throughout, to the point where, like, my wife was like going, it's fine, you know. And I was like, Gabe Kidd's really kind of hitting Shibata quite hard. Have they all just forgotten? Or is he fine? I don't know. But I quite enjoy that Shibata's very significant injury history can have this weird, like, almost unbearable dramatic impact on his work. The spot that my wife exploded for was when Hobbs countered the Doomsday device with that
with the
power slam.
The head shrinker Steiner's business.
Yeah, that was absolutely awesome. Finish, a little bit anticlimactic. Joe got the choke. In the post-match, and a nice, like, show-long thread, the Death Riders took out Samoa Joe, Pillmanized his neck with the idea being nothing can possibly go wrong in this main event. But I really liked the idea of it wasn't just this, like, oh my God, I can continue to do however many interference spots and beatdowns. Nothing will ever catch up with me.
Yeah.
It's like they sensed something big is going to go down in this main event. Let's take out the key guys of the ops, and let's get Osprey out of here as well, as happened later on. Let's, like, sort of clear the runway, if you like, for Jon Moxley to win. Like, they couldn't count on Darby coming back from Everest, you know what I mean? I thought that was a really clever touch throughout, and there's probably some practical reasons to write off Joe for a little bit, or Osprey for a little bit as well.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of thoughts on this match, but then...
No. I remember, legitimately, I remember Gabe Kidd and Shibata stuff was cool, and I really enjoyed that head shrinkers Steiner spot, and that's the lasting memory it left. But they got it out the way early.
To share some, like, anecdotal family thoughts, which feels like we're kind of using our family members as a cheat code with very little analysis to offer this match. I watched it with my two kids, who had said, because I thought the show might hit about 4 hours, and when you've got, like, a 12-year-old and a nearly 10-year-old and you're telling them midnight's a possibility, they're locked in, right? So I was like, we can just do this. So it was just simple stuff. Like,
so you get to watch your wrestling that you were planning to watch and a lie in at the same time.
That's the hope. The kids scuppered that one. But that was the hope.
They often do. I love them, but they often do.
They often do. But that was the hope. And, like, my wife gets a bit of a free evening. We get the telly, but she gets an evening not having to, like, think about anything else and whatever. And maybe this is a comment on the psychology early doors, but the kids were like, well, who are the good guys and who are the bad guys? And I was like, well, these three over there are the bad guys.
We should let it stress that AEW is not necessarily for kids.
Not so much. And in the end, as it turned out...
It was funny. I'm going to forget this. Like, I think it was during the handcuff spot in the main event. I just saw, like, 3 kids in the front row.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
I spotted them as well, yeah.
Is that you joking? What they've just watched?
Because my kids didn't end up asking... They were done by... We're going to get to this. They were done by midnight or thereabouts and didn't know the roster, so they weren't asking the next day to catch up. And I was thinking, that's a relief, really, because I didn't really want to show them Moxley and Hangman. Not yet. So that was offset. Not a lot from the kids, and not a lot from me, and I get why, because this was a match. But, and this is where I think we're going to try and walk a tightrope here. WrestleMania 17 was not a perfect show.
No, it wasn't. It's the Desert Island show.
And this was about Chris Jericho and William Regal standard without the pissing in the teapot.
Yes.
It was just a fine...
It's for the benefit of our YouTube there.
Sidgwick just pulled a face that made me think I'm looking at one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Sidgwick just drank some piss.
Yeah.
What are your favourite top 5 William Regal matches?
Well, I do a podcast with Benno, I'll grapple, and ask that man on Twitter his 5 favourite William Regal matches. He will not get in any trouble for that. Number 1, drinking piss. Number 2, trying to ruin AEW from the inside. Number 3,
probably the Christian one.
Yeah, whatever. Like, and yeah, whatever to this, ultimately. I did really like, to your point about how it played out later on and using Osprey as the mirror. And the Osprey mirror and attack in the main event was where I forgave this attack. Because as the show went on, I was starting to think, well, like, Shibata and Hobbs have probably taken Joe to hospital. They've probably got loads of time to get back. Like, by the time we got to the main event, by the time the opener was like 6 years ago. So
by the time we got to the main event, Samoa Joe's come out of his coma.
Shook it off and he's ready to go. So I was a bit like, the problem with putting out the opener is that, but the Osprey thing tethered it together quite nicely. They've illustrated, like, we are prepared to go, that, like, we think we have to neutralize the threats. To your point, it was like, what are the threats the Death Riders couldn't have accounted for? And mostly the 3 difference makers are ones that they wouldn't have had in the plans.
Yes.
So I did like that. So this was a necessary evil, I guess. And I would have probably shaved 7 minutes off this match. You could apply to every match. I don't know. But
not every
not
match,
every match.
bro.
Not every match.
Not every match.
Not every
bro,
match.
come on.
Just every match in like the first 3 hours maybe.
Oh, trust us, there's matches I would have shaved some time off, which is a nice segue to the Casino Men's Battle Royale, which, quite frankly, I am going to say some nice things about it. I am. And luckily for, I don't know, the legacy of the match or what it was all designed to do, a lot of that praise is reserved for what I thought was a magnificently clever finish idea. We've seen it in a Battle Royal before.
Keep talking. Producing on the hop here.
Okay. But ultimately, so MGF wins a 34 minutes and 55 second long men's casino battle royale that also involved the likes of the Beast, Mortos, Konosuke Takeshita, Josh Alexander, who together were responsible for the narrative through line, where I think Josh Alexander was quite prepared for Takeshita to be the designated Callis family winner. So they did a lot, and I mean a lot of like double team spots. Mystico, Brody King, who had one of the highlights of the match, Anthony Bowens. This is not an exhaustive, complete list of participants. I should have written them down, but ultimately the fact that I cannot really remember off the top of my head.
There were 15 of them!
There were 15 of them! Jesus!
Which, to your point, we talked about this a bit over the desk today. I back Sidge, even when we have our little squabbles about the old Rumble scale, WWE in general.
No, I think
for the most part, this has kind of replaced the Rumble, or at least shown up the Rumble for like getting a bit stale or needing a bit of a...
This was too much like a Rumble.
It was too much like a Rumble.
Too much like a Rumble.
15 guys or 16 guys over half an hour is the first half of a Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
Where you're waiting for the stuff, the meat of it, you know? And we never got it.
All I could think about as this match went on and on and on, and as it approached its 5th hour, all I could think about was they held on television a 4-way match to determine who gets to be number 1
and 2.
So they did 2 matches, yeah. They did 2 matches. Like totaling about half an hour in total of pretty valuable TV time, you know, especially when you're building such a major show like this. That's all I kept thinking about, because a lot of the times there were bursts of action that you could not love, like that assisted knee drop from Takeshita to Ricochet's face, which almost went badly awry, but because there was no face explosion, I didn't have to feel that guilty about loving it, even though you could tell on commentary, that probably didn't mean to hit him that hard in the face. Roddy Strong coming in, he was kicking great. Ass, he was great. He's
a good explosion. It was like a hot tag for him, wasn't it?
It's a good context for his specific style and what he's really great at. And like the MJF Briscoe start was really good, but all I could think about was, why hold a match to determine I know why they want to tell the longer story with Briscoe and MGF, which again, this fantastic finish advanced even further. The whole point of this match, not the point is to, determine a number one contender and all the rest of it, but the thrust, the beauty, I should say, of this match, at least in the one that Osprey won on TV, the second one, not the Daily's Place one, there was one after that he won, and the one at last year's All In, was the urgency, the idea of it is not a glorified Rumble, an excuse to reward the guys who are really willing to do jobs on TV, like your Bowens, your Brody Kings, your Max Casters. Juice Robinson, that's newsworthy, came back. What were you thinking shaving off that beard? It's one of those where
I think the whole look was
the whole look. He went on a wild. It was a complete attempt at a reinvention. If he just kept the same look but shaved the beard, or kept the beard and changed the gear, I was just baffled looking at this.
Dallas Elias type look, wasn't it?
Really
he didn't look like Juice Robinson, so he couldn't scan as Juice Robinson.
Really strange. A little note as well. The mystical thing was very forced, especially in a match that soared to such unbelievable heights last year. And I'm going to use the memory and example of the Zack Sabre Jr. and Orange Cassidy submission exchange, where they did their usual stuff, but like at 1.75 speed, with the idea being, I need to tap you out as quick as possible because someone else is coming out.
Yeah, the randomness is a feature, not a bug.
Yeah.
There's no limit to when people can come out. You're not knowing who's coming is supposed to be part of the fun.
The idea, this mystical stuff was forced. It sort of undermined the idea, the beauty, the urgency, the breathless, it's going. It shouldn't be going this long, but I'm glad it is. But someone's going to win it soon. I never got that feeling once watching this iteration of the match. The mystical thing was kind of forced and contrived, a bit bleak, really.
Badly executed too.
Badly executed. Like
mystical running was an error. The fans not.
But like he had to. He's caught in two minds. It's like, I have to win this match. I've also been told to try and make the music thing a thing again.
Producers should have been finding fans that were singing. Like, find somebody singing, because that was the whole point of that.
Yeah.
So Jeff's just got to stand there and
bit of distraction.
It just wasn't. They should have. I know it's a dirty word. They should have rehearsed that.
Yeah.
Like, get
they do rehearsals.
Get the component bit correct. That like
it was just, he must have been.
That's what it was for, wasn't it?
Like
he's going for Bandito's mask, and you're like, here we go. Here comes Mystical.
Yeah.
You're getting revved up for it. Like,
Bandito and Takeshita stuff was nice, but I'd literally seen them work half an hour, and you'd seen them work a sort of accumulated half an hour on the TV matches on Dynamite that built that Ring of Honor main event. By the way, some of the telepathy and counters down the stretch of Takeshita Bandito at ROH, like the telepathy was absolutely incredible. I actually think that they had a thread of the tear the mask and Bandito blades, and then it just became kind of a back and forth shootout, and they kind of ignored it. I would describe that as a thrilling, imperfect match that some people might have overrated a little bit. But yeah, going back to this match, the men's casino gauntlet, because they got the approach wrong and the foundation and the logic was kind of all out of whack, more problems presented themselves. So you've retrospectively made the TV qualifiers a complete waste of time. That's one thing. We said it at the time. It's a bit of a daft device. But because this was a glorified Rumble in terms of like length, format, one guy comes in, does his stuff, sells for what felt like 15 minutes at a time.
Which is what's got bad about Rumbles, we should point out. They've kind of forgotten how to agent them.
Yeah, they've forgotten how to do it. This was like that, at least with Money in the Bank. And trust me, it was egregious this year, and especially on the men's side of things with how long that match was. But at least in Money in the Bank, they excused this selling on the outside by temporarily writing off one of the characters with a spectacular ladder bump. That would not necessarily 10 minutes at a goddamn time, but you can understand why someone would just take a little powder for 5 minutes out of the match. With this, it's like you're not getting a big, spectacular, violent stunt done to you. There was just people who was like, where have you gone? Like, where on earth have you gone? I hope, if nothing else, to be positive about this match, a lesson will be learned of the can't go this long. Not with a specific format that you have in mind, because even if you can forgive the contrivance of a load of the guys on the outside just selling for moves that, especially in AEW, which is my favorite promotion, and on a night like this elsewhere will like remind you of why it's so amazing, especially in AEW with its action forward style and the relentless pace and how back and forth even matches against established main eventers and mid-carders are. I'm now meant to believe that a sequence of moves has been done and you're out of the match for what honestly feels like 7 minutes, and that's not really hyperbole. So the longer this went, the more I found it hard to believe in. In and of itself, it just dragged.
Yeah.
In and of itself, it just dragged. Juice Robinson, it was nice to see him nice. Bruce Robinson.
Oh, that's so good.
Very good.
That's on the hoof, that. You can just tell.
I don't want to be a dick when he's had this, nice moment at the big stadium show and he's had that like bad time off for that bad injury. But maybe it was necessary to do this in a way where let's not get carried away.
Mm-hmm.
Let's remember what the core principles of the match are. And maybe you do remember the jokers were getting out of hand.
Yeah.
Remember that they don't do them anymore.
No.
The jokers of like, I can't remember off the top of my head. He was an amazing joker. Leo Rush was a lovely surprise as a joker.
Hangman was a joker twice.
Hangman was a joker.
In the ladder one where
But the idea of, all right, okay, which cool name that we haven't seen in AEW is going to be a joker. I think they realized we literally can't do that in every single match of this. So we'll kind of just drop that because obviously you can't sign too many people. Look at the problems AEW have had over the past 2 years up until the last however many months.
I think there's an argument for bringing people in on one-ers though, for the pop of it, for the idea. You know, we've talked about
but who's left?
Well, yeah, that's true.
Do you know what I mean? Who's left?
A legend. I don't know. But like, I think there's a compromise in between creating like we weren't watching. We were there at Wembley.
I'm almost glad this match happened because they know they can't go this long again.
Yeah.
Or they should know. And I think Ricochet and McGuinness last year was like, I just felt like this surreal level of bliss. Mm-hmm. You can't emulate that without those names. But then I would have just, right, okay, if we can't do that, let's just sell it on action, urgency. It was a nice time for the people, again, who do the jobs, especially Brody King, to get their big stadium long match, but got to be a bit more ruthless here. Give me your thoughts, and then we'll get to the finish.
Well, I think the lack of, like, really any like major talking points, I think, is what's notable beyond when you like we were DMing during this and like there was that experience I wanted to tell you to take. So I haven't even intended to fed pill my kid, and I'm going to try and work him out of it because I promise you I would never be one of those parents that lies about what their kids say on the internet.
It's tragic enough being a stage parent, being a WWE parent.
He came out with 2 corkers that I was going to pop you with, but then I was like, so just too cross it. There's another day for this. I'll just drop them on the podcast because they're so bless him. But I'm going to get this out of him. MJF's walking out. This was blissful. I was like, Max, we love you. I later told him about how he'd said a very nice thing about our podcast. So he's he looks like The Miz. I was like, oh, I couldn't believe and the other one, right? Because my kids got into wrestling full stop through Gun and Rumbles when Netflix happened. It was like rumble because it's an easy thing right there. Like Ricochet gets out there. Oh, Ricochet, is he in AEW? Yeah. He looks taller. I would not lie on the internet about what my kids say. It's sweet, right? So I'm having these nice moments, but otherwise I'm thinking there is nothing to grab onto about this. And this was one of the things we came away dancing in the street about. Like, I remember doing this podcast this time last year, and we couldn't wait to get to the gauntlet. We could not wait. And this lacked that, and not all Rumbles are built the same and all that kind of thing. This for me was like on balance, when you look at All In and how fabulous a show this was. Now, fabulous, I'll say it, and I understand why you wouldn't want to, how fabulous it is that the feeling is real and AEW has made something real and they are back. The power is back. I think it is back.
I need to see this Full Gear build.
Well,
and I know it's not the next pay-per-view, but I need to see what it looks like when you don't have the relief and it's the thing with the chase.
Yeah, I get that. I do get, and Tony Khan's.
I need to see what the new normal looks like.
Yeah, he's often the best at the chase, and then the follow-through.
Well, look at Hangman, look at Wardlow. Yeah, maybe this will be reflected in AEW at large.
But when you're analysing a promotion as a whole, and you're looking to see what's working, what's not, and the most recent example is like the WWE turnaround, and it's like, right, the Bloodline are on top, but like, what if there's nothing else? And then you really
there was nothing else.
Incorrect. And this is my point. You start looking under the hood, and then you're like, well, hang on, there's the Judgment Day. And how's Cody going to live in this mid-card for a year? And he does. And it's like, wait a minute. This for me was an illustration of an AEW that has pulled itself out of like some creative doldrums over the last couple of years, and it's done it. It has achieved it, and there was so much evidence of that in the back half of the show. But this match was illustrative of a mid-card that has been a little bit left to rot and rely on matches. I would imagine if you are a ride-or-die weekly collider, this was a bit of a dream for you.
Even then, I don't think the action was amazing.
It wasn't amazing, but it was like, look at the boys all having the moment. Look at the guys getting this chance. And like, as you pointed out, someone like a Brody King deserved a spot. Like, how would you get so many guys to get a spot? This was more magnanimous gesture than it was electrifying good time. And maybe there's something for Tony Khan to look at as he returns AEW to this like milk and honey era to be like, there's got to be some stories like that. You've got to find, like, you use ZSJ and Orange Cassidy is a perfect example, right? Because it's not like they're in a weekly foo-ed, but those characters are so established and over that you know what you're going to do with an Orange Cassidy and a ZSJ.
They had a match prior to that they were building on as well.
But they are so, you know who these people are, and you know what they would do in a sudden death situation. These wrestlers were coming out. What is Anthony Bowens up to that we know what he's going to do in a sudden death situation? Your example of Takeshita,
Josh Alexander. It's bad that you're forgetting his name already.
But that's the one example.
I don't necessarily think that's your fault.
That, and then MJF and Mark Briscoe are the two examples where it's like, this is what they do in a sudden death situation. They've got a battle plan. They're going to try and win. Josh Alexander has arrived to try and run interference and defense for Takeshita, and MJF's always keeping an eye on Briscoe, and more importantly, keeping an eye on the prize.
Yeah.
Elsewhere, these wrestlers have been asked to go out there and wrestle for months and months and months and months and months with nominal creative investment. And like, this is the outcome. This is like I think a reality check almost of that bloated mid-card.
I am listening. I'm just checking something at the same time if my internet wants to actually work.
Where there's just so, there's been so little, I think, for them to feel like they're truly fighting for or feel like they're truly invested in. And we were talking about this over the desk. You mentioned like Hangman Page as both a wrestler and a storyline driver in last year's match was huge, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Like the amount of different angles you could run mid-match were like integral to that match's success. And Hangman Page is this fabulous all-rounder that makes the work good as well.
It's 10 minutes shorter last year's as well.
Right. I mean, runtime is a difference maker because you're throwing guys out there and you're keeping it hot and you're keeping it exciting. But I would love for us to be sitting here in 12 months and be able to say, it's been a great 12 months for AEW. They have kept this momentum. I think they will. I just think they're back. I've sensed it. I think they're back. It's alive creatively again. But this time next year, you're talking about like, not everyone can be over, but you're talking about like 10 wrestlers that are in with a shot. You're talking about 3 or 4 stories that you can tell within the body of the match that has shown you that like the mid-card is alive again. I would even say something like, remember how in the dailies, probably latter end of the pandemic, where like how we would analyze a battle royal for the potential mini stories that were wrapped within it. The Double or Nothing, I know it was just out the pandemic, but the Double or Nothing 2021 one won by Jungle Boy.
Yes,
I think one that had the Pac and Ray Phoenix sequence in daily. There was a time when that mid card was so alive with ideas that you could get like 5 stories out of it, and you could get 5 pushes out of it and whatever. This is not that yet, but we can get there again. And that's what I was watching, thinking this is like, there's just not enough steam in this mid-card. Yeah. There's not.
I've got 3 more things to say about this match, which I'm conscious of dominating the entire podcast. Because again, I kept thinking.
It was a long show. We can do a long podcast.
I kept thinking, God, this is going on. This is going on. That's not the 3 more things on this, at least from me. You can
I'm good.
Pipe up if you want. So, Mrs. watched the Trios opener with us. And then I was like, can't harsh my buzz with your logic. Take Charlotte to bed.
Listen here, Dr. White. Explain how they're springing back off the ropes. Yeah. You want to pick on something.
No, but she loved Powerhouse Hobbs.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved Powerhouse Hobbs. So, right, she then takes my youngest to bed.
Jacked wrestlers, who'd have thought it?
I know.
Body's matter.
I know.
It's what got us.
I know. So, that, right, James, come watch this wrestling with me before you go to bed. Because I've got the big telly for once. So, watch it. And he's like...
Big telly Brits.
So, he kept, like, saying, like, who's he feuding with? It's all, like, very story and character. Yeah. Like, I'm saying, I don't really care about Roderick Strong's... Oh, my God, that bit with the B small toss. This is another thing I need to... he went up to the Beast Mortos. Can you remember this Beast Mortos? Remember that little weird fouet they had last year?
Oh, I love that. Hey,
you
buddy! Hey, buddy, like the Frank Mortos stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? And it's probably not the night. It's probably not the podcast to take the piss out of Roderick Strong on what his close friend has been through, and there's going to be a bloody tonal shift. Bloody hell, there'll be a tonal shift in the next 5 minutes. But
kids love the Beast Mortals.
I mean, who wouldn't? I think he's one of those universally loved wrestlers. What is Roderick Strong's obsession with celebrating and continuing like pretty poorly received material?
Fair, yeah.
Like, Adam!
I got a little bit of a chuckle out of that. We're still buddies.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that. So the three things I was going to mention. One, so I'm watching it with my son, who has got this thing with wrestling where he likes Sheamus for a bit because he was also a redhead.
Nice.
I showed him Sheamus versus Gunther, a clash at the castle, and I thought I might get him as a wrestling fan here, and then he was just back to football in the days that followed. I showed him Osprey Takeshita from Revolution last year. I loved that Osprey was British as well. I was like, the best one's British. And I was like, well, after Danielson retires, yes, he is. And I've never seen him look at pro wrestling like Orange Cassidy as well, because Orange Cassidy was such a big thing when James was like, well, actually when I talked about it in front of him, that was an AEW, it's like 2019, that was this AEW thing that I actually like talking about in the household. James, want to watch this? He liked Orange Cassidy a great deal as well, but this Osprey Takeshita match from Revolution blew his head off. I'm actually shocked by how hyped he was with it that he didn't then say, oh, can I watch more of it? But whatever. Never been the biggest wrestling guy, my son. He loves his football. He loves reading and he loves his football. Those are his two things. When MJF would it have been Briscoe or Bandito, walked up to them with his dick.
Yeah.
The belly laugh from James. He couldn't believe that like people were doing that.
Yeah.
Or that you could do that in wrestling, or like people joke about that kind of thing on that as well. And Bones at one point went, suck my fucking dick. James was, did he say suck his D? Why would you do that? Let's just move on.
Conversation for a different day.
Let's just move on. The Max Caster thing I found legitimately baffling. The match is already dragging to the point where there's been such a gap between entrances where I think, all right, that's all of them. That's everyone who's been awarded the chance, just in case it doesn't end after 4 entrants. I thought, that's it. They have exhausted the list of people. Everyone's ended the match, conveniently enough. It feels like at least 5 minutes. And then Max Caster comes out, and I'm thinking, who's going to, like, boot him off the ramp and take his spot?
Yeah.
Like, a returning Wardlow or someone like that. Nope. But let's do a pretty weird gag with it. So that was really odd. Just bringing into focus how long the match is going on and not doing anything with it. I thought the finish was sensational.
Yeah.
I know that in 9 out of 10 battle royals, you get someone thinks they've won it. Someone comes in who hasn't been eliminated and throws them over the top rope. Like WWE was obsessed with that finish for a long old time, right? So I get why people would go, 35 minutes for that. First of all, 35 minutes for that. I hate MJF. All right, well, he's won the match and he's really sort of ramping up as a heel. So that's kind of the point there. Him, after what they're starting with Mark Briscoe, the words exchanged on the Dynamite Go Home show, MJF winning with the J Driller was a wonderful bit of transgressive stuff. Fantastic.
No, that was really smart. I like the promo he cut after the match as well. I got it's the difference when you feel like the company's firing, and in a different time it might have, not from MJF because he's very credible, but it might scan as a bit forced when a wrestler says, right, I'm the guy, I'm the, the sort of the statement about themselves, but just using the phrase main character and getting you thinking about the title picture and about the top guys and what it is to be a top guy in AEW. Because if anybody, I've always pushed back on this thing, but if anybody could argue the main character, it's MJF, right? It's almost like the devil and angel on AEW's shoulders as the two main characters. I love that. Like, I felt energized by that, and I forgot for a second about like the potential cash in. So I don't know. I almost don't want to debate that until we know specifically what's happening with these contracts. But I just forgot about it, and I just thought about a healthy like a live title picture, and it felt good.
Did MJF winning telegraph it for you or not? Yeah. I wasn't bothered at all.
Nah, not at all.
I wasn't bothered at all because
nothing was going to telegraph it. Nothing. My anxiety was
telegraph it, and even if you kind of had an idea, and we did before the show, I don't think anything was going to dim the feeling that they were going to be able to conjure. Yep. And well, we will get to that. But before that, bloody hell. In a match that obviously didn't happen, or was not meant to happen, rather, Dustin Rhodes wins the AEW TNT title in a lovely moment. This guy was in tears. And just a quick note on that, because it's not the headline. The match didn't matter. He defeats Daniel Garcia, Kyle Fletcher, and Sammy Guevara. And the babyface went over in a substitution. Classic pro wrestling promotion. The idea is that it's going to mean something when Kyle Fletcher presumably wins it. Dustin Rhodes, knowing where his brother's gone and all the rest of it, probably could have, because I think he has re-signed. He's not on his original AEW deal.
Yeah. It's a big one, isn't it? It's like a 5-year deal or something. Yeah.
Dustin Rhodes, I've read reports of, like, has been really hands-on with the women in the coaching and volunteering his time, and some of the moments, like, he put the company on the map. I'm telling you now, if you go back and watch that original Double or Nothing.
Best match ever.
And you can watch it and then supplement your rewatch, Cody versus Dustin, on our best match ever series, which will be coming back at some point on the WhatCulture Wrestling podcast channel. If Double or Nothing doesn't have that seminal moment, that main event doesn't age well at all. Young Bucks Lucha Bros is amazing, but it's an unexpectedly great match, And that match is a fundamental part of AEW lore, vitally important. That was the match that made you think, they're bringing emotion back. Yes, the blood's back. The storytelling build was really cool. There's an old guy who's allowed to be an old guy. There's a lot of non-WWE things that go into it to perfectly position AEW as we're not WWE, we're actually class alternative. That match is fundamental. Dustin Rhodes has been putting in the work. Dustin Rhodes is 56 years old. I was chuffed for him. And his tears were kind of needed for the vibe of the show. Because obviously what happens, it is announced hours or like maybe even during the pre-show, I suppose it doesn't matter, that Adam Cole was not medically cleared to compete and is forced to vacate the TNT title. So there's no talk of interim. I don't know if they don't do that anymore generally or what, but you get the feeling, something's gone awry here. And apparently there was footage that fans had shown of them rehearsing his theme and just making sure it all sounds good and they've got the playlist correct or whatever. That's not really my area. And then Adam Cole comes out fighting back tears and he says, like, soberingly, I wanted to come out here and say some words because if it's the last time, I want to thank you. And it's nice that it was the pay-per-view audience.
Yeah.
Not just, I think they're going to get 1,400 in a residency. Dynamite this week, so the most amount of AEW fans that have ever been in America. So I understand why they let him do this and why he wanted to do it. But speaking vaguely, as wrestlers often do with what has now been reported as concussion issues stemming from...
You could have guessed, couldn't you, the way he was talking around it.
Yeah, the fact that he wasn't visibly limping and all the rest of it. It was weird. Like, the tone was so bleak and the emotion on his Paragon stablemates and best friends in pro wrestling was of such distraught, like, emotion. I know it's like an horrific career-ending injury. I thought it could have been, like, dying.
Me
genuinely.
Too. Reminded me of, remember when Moxley and Seth came out on the stage with Roman.
Yeah,
I don't mean that comparison to be dark, but the three of them are hugging there, and it's like this is a dire situation.
And I'm not downplaying, the fact that the guy's career might be over, and nor am I downplaying like there's a spectrum of concussions. It's not my matter of subject area expertise, but there is a scale, and he was really badly affected by all reports, like memory loss and the rest of it. So I'm not downplaying it at all. It's almost a relief that it is a career-ending thing and not potentially like a life-altering thing. And obviously his life's never going to be the same. I thought the guy was dying. That's how devastating this was. All the best to Adam Cole. And it's just, he's one of the nicest guys in pro wrestling. Even CM Punk and Brawl Out had a temporary reprieve from...
Cut himself off to be like, I like Adam Cole.
Yeah, like the world was burning around us. Like, let's just put that part of the fire out while I can just say what a sweetheart is the word he used, you know? This match had no chance, but who ultimately cares? I can barely remember the action because I think everyone's just in the detritus of this thing.
Yeah, there was no way to square this circle ultimately, and the best attempt was what we saw, I think. Dustin Rhodes winning. They appeared to be telling a bit of a story. Like, he didn't... I thought it would have made a bit more sense that he pinned Sammy Guevara until the post-match, where it appeared that Sammy Guevara took a bit of convincing as everybody else was in the ring celebrating with Dustin, and clearly that's something they're going to do. Maybe as a story, if you watch them on Ring of Honor, I guess, or maybe this is going to be something that's going to be transferred back to AEW now that Dustin's got the TNT title. The nice thing was the only thing to have done, and this was the nice thing. Yeah. Dustin was decked out in the Texas gear. Again, one of the last takes from my sons because they were starting to veer towards the screens at this point, which was a shame. But, like, my son's a massive Cody guy, and when Dustin busts out the Crossroads, and then he was like, oh, he's going to do it for his brother. And then straight after the match, he was like, oh, now Cody could beat John Cena and the brothers could have the belts. I was like, it's nice when you're that age and it can be that real.
Yeah.
But then that's the point, right? Dustin's there in Texas and having this last great moment. It was his nephews. More Rhodeses in the ring. You know, that like, I agree with you. I agree with your sentiment. This was absolutely the call, and it's pro wrestling. So potentially, Kyle Fletcher gets to be Lance Archer and squeeze the blood from Dustin's head when he takes the title off him, and you get where you want to go through a different but no less entertaining outcome. Like, what else could they have done? Like, if anything, if you follow this with something that wasn't a replacement match with a nice vibe, do way more damage to the rest of the card, you know? And I know that's not the concern, but it is a show.
It's a really difficult thing to tackle because maybe, you know, like, it was just one too many bumps. You'll never know the full story as well. But maybe if they thought, well, Kyle Fletcher, I've seen the bump. It was apparently a lariat from Collision,
right?
And I don't know who was to
Wrestling's
blame or at fault
game as well, isn't it? You know, we talk about it all the time.
I know it's an accumulative. Like, it's not that one chair shot to the head that gives you CTE. It's loads of them, you know. Maybe belting up Kyle Fletcher might have scanned as this attempt to capitalize. Yeah. I'm not even saying he was at fault, but maybe fans have connected the dots of, oh, well, if he's given Adam Cole this concussion and they've given him the belt, it's that kind of ugly, especially on a night like this.
That moment wasn't a moment for heat, was it? It was a moment for a nice thing, as almost like a way to build a bridge to the next match and get back to the show, rather than the reality of the Adam Cole thing.
Yeah. And I know with Adam Cole as well, some fans, and I think maybe we've had a laugh at his, loves the video games and all the rest of it. Like, thank God this dude has got something he's equally passionate about. Like, thank God, because if this was his entire life, and I'm not saying that it wasn't an absolutely massive part of it, or the professional wrestler works hard to a level we could never even comprehend. I'm not saying you do that as a hobby. Thank God he's got, like, I know it sounds ridiculous, but it isn't. It really isn't. Like, thank God he's got this.
Yeah.
And thank God everyone loves him. And thank God even if they didn't, you would think, oh, I'll get them next time. Because it's just Adam Cole, you know what I mean? Devastating for him. But if anyone's got a support network or a thing they're equally passionate about, like, thank God that he's got that going on, because it sounds bad.
I was checking yesterday for like updates on him and stuff in the aftermath, and I found a website, I can't remember the site, but loads of sites will have done this, that basically just combined the various tributes paid to him by people in the, and it just like, went on and on. Every wrestler, you make the Punk reference, every single wrestler speaks highly of Adam Cole.
Yeah.
Like, and that's something more important than a load of good matches to take away, isn't it? Like the positive impact he's had on lots and lots of people's lives.
Absolutely. Like, so you have a fine opener, a match that goes way longer than it needs to, and then this news and the resulting match, which had no chance. And I think this is like 2 hours.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm thinking, this ain't it. This is a shame. And it's like, obviously, circumstances beyond anyone's control or what anyone would ever want. And you can't obviously blame AEW for this whole situation, but this show, I'm starting to like get worried about it.
The tone was off, wasn't it?
The tone was off, the vibe, it was like...
And it's 10 p.m. in the UK. We're not being miserable, Mr. Bean looking asses. We are prime time living room telly. We never get this.
Never get this.
Like,
and I'm halfway thinking, oh God, is this show cursed or is it just not going to be as good as we thought? And then the Young Bucks, Will Osprey and Swerve Strickland come out. The entrances were spectacular. I'm sure Hamflett will fill me in on the others if I just go straight into the matches. The Osprey one was spectacular, and he was very touched by it because he's a huge Assassin's Creed fan. In fact, I think he was talking about this on Talk as Jericho. He was like, when he was starting out in the indies, like, you can't just be a good wrestler. Even at this level, you have to do something that a fan can, in 5 seconds, work out. It's like the kids' question of like, oh, who's he? What's he like? Who's he friends with? The kids, like, you have to answer that kid's question in the first 5 seconds. He was like, right, okay, well, I'm this unbelievable high flyer. I will communicate that to fans by wearing an Assassin's Creed style hood. And they go, oh, he must be good at that.
Yeah.
And they instantly get, so that was like a nice full circle moment for him. And considering how he started out and where he is now and all the rest of it. And a wonderful touch, Jojo Offerman comes out to sing Ain't Nobody, and when you realize what's happening, you start to vibe a little bit. And it's even better because I thought, they paid for this. It's like, not even better, they've got Jojo singing it.
A quick one on this. You know how there's 2 countries?
Yes, America and England. It's a bit, we don't do them, but that's one of them.
This is not me doing an all-in us versus them thing, because every other element of this show, and I've been to Dallas and I loved it, and I just think this venue is incredible, and I wished I was there. I wished I was in the building. Like, a minor misfire. They probably should have debuted this in England, because I think I might have texted you. I was worried. I was like, Sid might be angry. So there was a couple of other people I was messaging while the show was on, right?
To be fair, it got to the point where my phone had run out of battery, so it was just on charge.
Yeah, but so I was like, I'll leave Sid for a bit. So it might have been Nicholas, it might have been Benno of Grapple, and he made this point, but we were both on the same page. But like, sometimes Americans don't have enough patter, because if that Ain't Nobody hits at Wembley, it goes off.
Yeah.
And the second the match graphic came up on Universal, we had, here we go, the show's starting now, thank God.
Yeah.
Thank God. And then they're doing Ain't Nobody, oh my God. And Dallas was like, polite?
Yeah.
Lose your fucking
again,
minds for Ain't Nobody. Like, this is huge. They've never done it in AEW, ever. They've held that.
It's that dome layout thing as well.
Maybe, yeah.
Because if you look at even Omega's entrance later,
yeah,
I think these aren't necessarily, it's not like the glass shatter, is it?
No.
Sting. So it's a bit different, but I don't know.
I just thought it was gonna go nuts for that, and if anything, it was just like a polite kind of.
Yeah.
The Bucks got him though. The old Boatski. So that was fine. Like
this was, in a weird way, the Bucks come out on a boat that then starts to rise up, and they do another sort of like old timey USA address. What was the reference?
There was something about they're shot on the Fed. It was like there was like the sort of
so they did this like coded air quotes thing about the counter programming, which they tied into their opponents as well. But it was basically counter programming.
We will not be like oppressed. By
don't counter program. Like the show that we're about to put on. It was already feeling at this point. I'm thinking, well, it's going 5 and not 4. 5. It turned out to be 6. And we might have something to say about that a little bit later. And then Osprey's like tapping his wrist as if to say, "Come on, lads." This entrance is taking 10 minutes. It's like one of those Stuart Lee style jokes that you think is going on a bit too long, and then you realize, obviously they didn't think, we're going to have a pretty dismal 2 hour, not dismal, a pretty uneven start to All In Texas when we make our entrance, but it just worked out as like, I hate you more for not getting in the ring.
Looping Fife.
That looping Fife
so annoying.
Was so annoying, but it's but perfect. So I'm like, get in the ring. And then you could see them going, you think the show's going a bit long, dear? Well, I built this. It's mine, so I'm going to take my sweet time.
I run the clock. So.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, how are they getting down from this ship that's now started to levitate? This is all perfect. For 5 minutes of a 25-minute and 50-second match, at least according to Wikipedia in front of me. For 5 minutes, I have this thought of, what is it with the Young Bucks All In? Their own brand. For 5 minutes, I'm thinking, right, so I've got things to think about because the match isn't grabbing me for 5 minutes.
The first minute where Swerve and Osprey weren't as connected as a team and the Young Bucks would logically take the advantage, I didn't see coming, and I thought was lovely.
Yeah, good touch.
Because they're the heels now, so you think they would power.
I think this match needed the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I'm with you. Well, I get that thing that you talk about that I tend not to get.
Was it getting good?
When's a good match happening, lads? That first minute was like, oh, I'm in. And then it sort of, I don't think it slowed. That's not fair. But it didn't seem to be achieving much. And in hindsight, it was foundational.
Yeah, it's foundational to the story of the match and like the whole idea of, well, they're getting picked apart by the superior unit, and that is not necessarily a dissection isn't interesting necessarily, but you kind of need it to just put over the Young Bucks. It's like you're not beating them, especially with the very interesting story you could tell. Like, did you not think the baby faces lose?
It's like the Young Bucks, and did you not think that this would be a problem for us? You know how you can barely get it together as a team. We're the best of all time.
Yeah.
Did you not consider that when you challenged us? Yeah, which you don't think about when the Young Bucks are heels, do you? Yeah. It's only within the match that you're like, oh yeah, we're taking on the best tag team.
So this has this 5, maybe even 7 minutes of, and I start thinking, because again, the match isn't grabbing me, so I'm allowed to think, and that's not good. You want to, trust me, it gets better. You've seen it. All In, the first one, 2018. They have this unbelievable main event match, but the feeling is, they've rushed this because Marty Scurll and Okada, not the first name in terms of that, they've gone way too long.
Yeah.
And you think, what an unbelievable achievement, if not a match of the year candidate.
Yes.
That the main event is.
Brilliant on its own terms.
And the next All In is, of course, 2023. And it's against FTR.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a parallel here in that. I will defend that match. And I think the vibe surrounding AEW was so that if you do that match move for move in another building, it's remembered as a much better match. The expectation level doesn't help. The last 10 minutes of that match is unbelievable. But again, it takes ages to get there. And not the best night of the Young Bucks' career, quite frankly, All In 2023.
I'm trying to race to 2024 and I can't get there.
Diversion.
It's time to play the game! Time to play the game!
What were the Young Bucks doing at All In last year?
I was in the building. You cannot forget the Young Bucks. That's the point. That's the point of them, isn't it? It was a multi-man, which is why it's not sticking. Were the Acclaimed in it?
Yes.
Are they still kicking around? So the Acclaimed, and I tell you what I do remember.
Sergeant Pepper's gear.
No, but close. The friggin' grizzled young vets after the bell.
And then that match never happened.
Nah. But there was somebody else. House You Blake? It can't be the House You Blake.
No, they were in the London ladder 4-way trios match.
Christian Cage did double. It wasn't the patriarchy.
No, because he won the gauntlet.
He won the gauntlet, didn't he? He'd done something else, hadn't he? Was he in the London ladder match as well?
Who?
Christian Cage.
Yes, I think so.
Wasn't the BCC because they did trios. They won the trios belts.
And Moxley didn't.
It was like Moxley wasn't there, and it
was Moxley didn't make the show. And I always remember what was Moxley doing? Oh, nothing, because the very, very funny on Twitter, Jenny Omega did the tweet of Al Bundy in the karate outfit. Saying this is Mox celebrating from home Danielson's win.
Like the judo tournament thing.
Fantastic.
Which in hindsight was a nice bit of seeding of the Death Riders.
Yes.
We can give them that one now. There's a team.
It was FTR.
It was FTR.
Young Bucks versus FTR versus the Acclaimed.
Best. Current. They were trying to tell a bit of
They were trying to tell the story of these are the three cornerstones, the three biggest tag teams in AEW history, all in the ring for the first time. And it was like, what you're really saying is that neither of these teams have been less over.
Yes.
The turnaround now, at least for two of them.
The match wasn't much, was it?
No, this match was.
This match was.
So after 5-7 minutes of probably necessary control and a sort of like flat attritional match, this thing starts to really accelerate. And then the spot that, if you haven't seen the match, and in fact, if you just follow AEW because you hate it, you'll have seen the sequence. I'm not going to get it right, but you know which one I'm on about. Will Osprey does that, What does he counter from Matthew Jackson?
The buckshot. Oh, no, that's before that, isn't it?
Right, so Matthew Jackson is about to hit the buckshot on Will Osprey. Osprey does that absolutely insane counter that he can get into the Styles Clash position as a result. There's a super kick party. There's an attempt to counter said super kick party. The super kick party happens. Both Osprey and Swerve are doubled over. The Bucks hit stereo destroyers on them, and at the same time, because they finally came together and they've realized like the gravity of what they're doing, they need to get back in this fight. Swerve and Osprey together fire up, do house call hidden play stereo.
It's quadruple down.
Aye.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Just when you think, I've seen this style, I've seen this type of thing, am I getting bored of it? No, because it always will get me. But how many more layers can you add to this? How can you lose your mind? How can you make people who've seen everything lose their minds? This is the true genius. And I understand why people wouldn't like this, to be honest. I loved it.
I've got to take on this in a minute.
Loved it. This sequence. And the match gets unbelievable from there. That's just like, you just hit that. I don't know if it was a 5. I'd probably go 4 and 3 on this. But from that moment on, it was a 5. If not the whole thing. Like, I don't know how these guys do it. Osprey and the Bucks, especially, not a discount Swerve, but it's the consistency with which Osprey and Young Bucks do this exact kind of thing. And by that kind of thing, it's that without any kind of like phrase, or there's nothing in the wrestling fan shared like lexicon for this, it's that, how is that not the finish?
Yeah.
How have you added a layer of drama? How have the guys who are, and this is the Bucks and Osprey especially, I think I put Swerve in a different sort of category, if you like. But the Bucks and Osprey are in this one. The guys who have been accused for combined decades of doing too much, seen it all before, too far. You'll burn out the crowd doing that, will you? Or did you get the loudest reaction of the entire night from this sequence, right? You'll burn out the crowd doing that. You're doing too much. Slow it down. The mental ability to be able to construct a sequence that people exploded during this. It's just the fact that people say, I do too much and they'll get bored of that. No, they're just so clever. This was absolutely exhilarating. Again, I can understand why people would have rolled their eyes. I thought, oh, that looked contrived or whatever. I get it. I just experienced pure bliss watching this. It was unbelievable.
How often, think about the root of the specific criticism you've just laid out that you do see all the time for this type of stuff. And a lot of it is from older heads that, with some rationale, or if they've ever drawn any money or have been thought of as somebody with value to wrestling, would have said, let's say in the olden days, you absolutely save that for WrestleMania or for Starrcade or whatever, you know, like bear in mind, WWE with Edge spearing Jeff Hardy off the belt on the ladder had done that on Raw.
Yeah.
Prior September. There's always hypocrisy as well.
Yeah.
But that's the principal thinking, right? That big spot you got in the back of your mind.
But the reason why that spot's so successful is because you forget they've done it on Raw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that even then, like, kind of it plays out as a sort of an accepted truth and whatnot, and then obviously the Young Bucks, and that's where killing the business comes from, right? It's this idea, it's like, if you do that every night, you're going to kill the business. You got to.
That just becomes such a funnier joke when you see a show like this. Of this scale.
And I like to think if people are watching that are regulars of ours and those that aren't, like, welcome, but for those that are regulars, we'll sit here and we'll talk about Dynamite matches, and you've kind of made a bit of it at this point. It's like, here as well, I'm jumping up and down doing backflips on my couch, and let's throw a Hamflett while he was bored, right? And I am. And I think, like, the context of this is so crucial. I'm not surprised that this gets pelters. I'm just not at this point, because you know it's going to get pelters, because the default position has become for people to give this sort of spot pelters. I would classify this as the absolute textbook example of when to do a thing. I think the entire show turned as a result of this spot. The camera, like you could argue about AEW, if you were there in Dallas, like let us know your thoughts and give us your sort of testimony and that. And we've said this before, if you're in a building watching wrestling, it's loud in your section.
I do have an email, very lovingly received and thankfully, gratefully received. I won't have time to get into it. Maybe the Dynamite coverage later in the week.
Oh, like
from someone who was there,
Like, let us know these things. But like when you're there in a building, of course it feels loud. Sometimes on television, it doesn't feel loud. AEW can't mic, God knows what. I don't want to get in that debate today. But at no point during the show had there been a reason to do a sweeping, glorious panning shot of the audience losing their minds. And you could have swept and panned 10 times round and they'd still be losing their minds off this singular spot. The entire show's vibe changed in this moment. So find me a better time with which to do a spot like this than like shifting the atmosphere of your biggest stadium show of the year. They nailed this.
This is the kind of sequence, right, that I'll remember forever. This is like WWE have literally ruined my life and everything else. A moment.
Yeah.
Like the fans at one point resemble like the snowstorm from a pre-digital TV because I just saw people vibrating everywhere during this, right? This is the sort of sequence where, and again, I'm not privy to any of this, right? I can imagine they're all sat down, Bucks, Swerve, Osprey. I'm going to forget this, the moment where Swerve, especially when they thought they'd nearly lost the match, but he was still a good enough man to take the bullet. Especially when they thought, oh, we're going to lose this. I'm going to protect my man anyway. It was such a great way of earning what followed later in the show as well.
You're telling 10 stories about these two losing and splitting.
Yeah.
When he gets hit.
Yeah.
You're doing the thing
and
where
Swerve is still, I'm not blaming him. I'm going to just stand up. He did the same thing for me. Telling the story of Swerve becoming like a really good bloke.
Yeah.
Heavily informed the main event as well. Like I thought there was some wonderful
I hope
touches.
everybody watched that collisions thing with Hangman.
Yeah.
Because that was such necessary for a lot of the big stuff that played out right down to the chain.
A lot of great touches throughout the show in that regard.
Tell me you regret it. Because Hangman basically is the barometer of what a good person is. And Swerve, I do actually.
Yeah.
Oh, he is a good person. He can grow from
and
this.
And they articulated that in the spot of this match. But one more note on this sequence. Like, I can imagine them sat down, Bucks, Swerve, Osprey, laying out the match. I don't know who has the idea to like go, right, I'll do this to this. What if we did that and then this destroyer fire up? Do you reckon one of them at any point went, that's surely too much? Or they think they just laughed and thought, I'll do that anyway.
Yeah.
I'm just interested in the entire process behind that sequence, thinking, is that too far even for
I can't
us?
think of 4 people less inclined to say, is that too far?
Yeah,
honestly,
I know.
Like genuinely, I can't across the whole roster. Like they would be.
The Young Bucks must have said it at some point. They must have had an idea where they thought, no, that's actually taking the piss. But there's like an anecdotal story with that. I can't remember who tweeted this or the person who tweeted it was referring to. But apparently the Young Bucks, when they're laying these matches out, make the noise that they expect the fans to make.
Yeah.
But also when we do this, that's when, I know wrestlers will make them calm. That's when I'll get them. They make the exact sound that they expect the fans to make, and 99 times out of 100, that's the exact sound they get.
It's the one thing when you could criticize Randy Savage for scripting it was like, well, how has he scripted it to be this good?
Yeah, I know.
Like, how has he read that this is going to be,
and
then I'll do this, and I'll do this. Yeah, but what if the fans aren't with it? They'll be with it.
Yeah.
I'm the friggin' Macho Man. Like, that's when you have to credit the people that put that together like that for knowing how the audience is going to come.
So, is it the outside of the ring Meltzer driver that takes Swerve out?
Yeah.
So the Bucks hit Swerve with the Meltzer driver to the outside, taking him out of the match for a long stretch. This is when you get some of the best near falls you'll ever see in your life on Will Osprey. There's one where I'm thinking, that is it. Mm-hmm. That is it. There's like, EVP triggers. It's like sort of a blitz, if you like, of EVP triggers. One after they do a Poison Rana, and he's just in the perfect spot to take it. Then bang, 1, 2, and this stipulation was genius.
Yep.
So I'm thinking, all right, okay, well, if you want Hangman to have that title, you don't want really Osprey to have a good. I mean, it's Osprey. He's going to have a good month. It's Will Osprey. It's same with Swerve. You don't want to have too good a month, because if he has the best match you've ever seen, and it's Osprey, he's demonstrably capable of that at full gear.
Yep.
And Hangman doesn't. You're thinking, give Osprey the title. That's AEW's got a selection headache problem. We've discussed this at length. And I'm thinking, this is such a perfect step to not make that happen. And AEW's clever enough to not make these things happen. Osprey is out for the count. And then the 2.999. Just so much has converged to create the euphoria of the drama of these near falls. It was unbelievable.
If you haven't watched this and you're listening to our review and you're predisposed to WWE and you're looking for an example, this is the AEW equivalent in terms of stakes and the specific sequencing of the super kick into the pedigree for the Undertaker 2.9.
Yes.
You have elevated the stakes in your mind that somebody is in a can't lose situation. So how do you make them how do you put them physically in a can't win? And that Poison Rana at those 2 super kicks while the partner is indisposed, like, it's done.
Yeah.
You're, as you've pointed out, you're mapping out what happens now with Swerve and Osprey. In a 3-second window, you're mapping out the next year of their careers. Yeah. And then he kicks out. You're like, everything, throw that away, start again. It resets you. It's breathless stuff. Breathless.
An absolutely incredible, vitally important mini masterpiece of a match, this, for me. Any more thoughts on it?
Loved it. Kids back off the screens for the near falls. Just not quite like knowing what they were watching, or the wrestlers just loving two, that like sense of someone's got to win, someone's got to lose. And this was a joy. And I didn't want the outcome that we got. But again,
Osprey and Swerve won, by the way. Obviously.
Osprey and Swerve won. The EVPs are done. But interestingly, because we'd analysed it so much about how fun it was going to be.
What was it like the stereo Hidden Blade and House call?
Yeah, it was like they were obviously the gear was matching and stuff. It was like, the match was its own intramatch story of we can be a team and get this done. So you have them on like either side with one young buck in the middle for it.
Another one of the EVP powers. This Founding Fathers gimmick's too funny. They have to continue it. I think they can do it.
Yeah, I'd like to see them give the sort of the last vestiges of power a go, like the jackets start becoming a bit threadbare, and the idea they're trying to cling on to something.
Yeah, this Founding Fathers stuff is something they can definitely take forward. It's too funny. I would just have the fife as the theme now. I would have the fife as the theme. It's too good. It's all good stuff, but this is too good.
It's a bigger picture, this, because I think so much of the praise for this show
There's loads of wrestlers where I'm thinking, what do you do now?
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? Like, so much of the praise for this show for me is rooted in, and we're going to get to the matches where you want to isolate the praise on them specifically, but bigger picture praise. And I think that's what the feeling is about. Is AEW really the promotion that you can love again? And I think it is.
Let's wait till full gear.
You have to sometimes when you're in the sludge of it. And I would say the Death Riders, you especially, have articulated why this might be an example. When you're in the absolute muck of it, you have to sort of tell yourself, well, the promotion will get out of this, or the wrestlers will get out of this. I just hope they've learnt lessons. What we got out of this, even though it maybe wasn't the finish we predicted, was that, right, the Young Bucks aren't EVPs in the story anymore. Let's hope, and I think they have, AEW have learnt a valuable lesson here. To not bother with power struggles and authority figures again.
Surely.
They were in the sludge of it.
I mean, they'll probably forget in 3 years and then remember. That's how these things
That's how wrestling works. But right now, at least, as we enter into this new era where things are just good without caveats again, let's sort of say, well, look, we all got out the sludge of the Young Bucks being EVPs and blood and guts matches where there was no actual stipulation and Tony Khan never really took his finger off the button or whatever. Like, take it and just be like, lesson learned. It's okay sometimes when you're out of it to be like, well, thank God we're not doing that anymore. They're not EVPs. There is no reason for authority figures and power struggles and whatever the frig Chris Daniels' job is. And WWE do it, and even then, most of the time they get it wrong.
Yeah,
leave it alone.
Yeah,
never go back. And that, again, it's all part of the. God, even that's not a thing now. There's no power struggle story anymore.
Yeah,
there's so many things that are just past tense versus the stuff that is to come.
In a way, it's got to be daunting for AEW when you got dickheads like me on the case.
Like, this is
we're in the right.
This is what you want, though. Yeah,
I mean, this is amazing, but they are kind of in the all right. We're great now.
Yeah,
all the problems are gone. What else you got? Era. I hope they've got up the bill.
I don't think they're there yet. I think that's what's most exciting. I don't think they're there yet. I think this was the turning point show, the absolute statement of we're back, but not the. Despite Hangman Page winning, I don't think this is the.
Well, after Darby and Mox, at least.
I think the stuff to come is when you start being like, oh, God, we didn't even know we could get to this.
You're that high on it?
I am that high on it. Like, I was the bigger picture, I am so high.
Wait until there's a really good tag match on Dynamite and you'll be a moaning bastard and you won't recognize this guy who's just come about.
Can't be perfect. You know?
Just watch the next time there's a really good match on Dynamite, which you'd think he's going to love, right? You'd think.
All I'm saying is, Sidge, I'm watching All In, and I got a million ideas for these guys. And I think that's where, I think that's where
what he did there?
I think that's where you want to be when you're watching a wrestling show. That's all I'm saying. Call this the old 97 2023.
Bloody hell.
That's where I believe we are, which is to say, in a year's time, you might be spotting the first signs of the old Falowski, but I think there's so much more road to travel.
They
Like,
are, I mean,
they're on the verge of something great here.
how everything came together, or, and this is probably even more impressive, the illusion of how everything seemed to come together later in the night and throughout the show was just masterpiece booking. Like, masterpiece booking. In fact, I'm going to say it, god damn it. Deft.
Yeah.
Dovetailing booking throughout this entire
Loads of it.
extravaganza. Loads of it. The next match was the Women's Casino Gauntlet, won by Athena, who last pinned Mina Shirakawa. I would describe this broadly as a tighter, better paced, cooler match than the men's. The level of, if you care about it so forensically, a work and execution, not as good. There was a spot, and again, there's too much to cover here. Like, if anyone's done the full move for move recap, then analysis podcast. I mean, I'm not saying listen to them regularly, but I'm saying, well done, you've done well. I can't remember everything in this match. There were highlights of it.
Yep.
I had a fun time with it, but there were a lot of moments. I don't want to say so many, because I think this is broadly received as a really good match that people were into. And quite frankly, given the stage, I'm glad it happened. That a lot of wrestlers like Willow got the chance to do the stadium show.
Polar opposite to the men's. This is a roster that feels like there's a bunch of other characters
that
just
you can
waiting
do
for a
stuff
story.
with. That you
Like,
can do stuff with.
I wouldn't say that. Yeah, I'm with you on the execution for a lot of it.
Like, there was a spot where, and this is the worst sequence that could have possibly have gone wrong, when this is when the field had sort of filled out and there were more wrestlers in there, when the person who's just done a tiaras is going to get a tiaras done to her, and the person who's just done the tiaras is going to... Every tiaras looked like crap.
Yeah.
Like, that was like, oh, don't do it. So I did feel at times like this wasn't amazing. It did have that contrived, what are we doing here? I mean, I grew up on, the rumbles of yore, when the idea is get to the ring, kick some ass, try and eliminate someone. I don't want to sound like one of these dickhead podcasts, these absolute losers in a perpetual state of arrested development who are still obsessed with 1992 WWF. I'm not looking at you because you actually like new WWF. Oh, it was different. It was bigger and it was more realistic back then. Shut up, man, and suck us off because you're an idiot. Actually, don't suck us off because you're too childlike for that. Because you're a 38-year-old bloke.
You're still like Grey Gloves dead, man.
Yeah. I think they're my least favorite type of wrestling fan, Yeah. A little more realistic then, didn't it? The blokes were bigger,
Well done. It happened in the Omni. Happened in a lot of buildings.
Yeah. No, how many people... One day, we will come up with a tier list of our least favorite types of wrestling fans / people. The people who are like, do less is more and milk it in the Omni. Like, they've got
realism. Kiss my ass.
Salient points, but you kind of do them a head in. Yeah. I think it's the like. No, it was better. It was better when I was 7. Why don't you grow up, pal? But I do agree with the idea of head down, get to the ring.
Yeah.
Realistically,
didn't sing his theme.
Yeah. It's a battle royal and a rumble. We've lost sight of what they should be, and it's a scramble. One fall to a finish. Put it this way, if it's a Royal Rumble and I'm in it, debuting WWE superstar Sidgwick, and he's coming to the ring, right? I'm probably just going, everybody. That's my theme.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
I'm probably singing it thinking, let's let them throw each other out.
Yeah. I don't run at the ring's illogical in the Rumble, actually.
It is. For dramatic purposes, I really hate these elaborate entrances that Levesque does for the Rumble because it just, by the time they get to the ring and do a move, it's a loop. It's a tedious loop. In terms of pure strategy, I'm taking my sweet time to get there.
Mm-hmm.
This is a one fall to a finish scramble where you are meant to, with clues in the name, scramble quickly to win. The urgency is so missing in both of these matches. This was better for it, I think. Athena looked great when she was in it. I really liked the Shuri Alex Windsor bit.
Yep.
Like, two new people who, and I don't know if it's how well they performed or the name that they've carried and how much those names carry into AEW's audience.
Commentators told me that had a rivalry, so I just bought it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Or the graft here that almost worked too hard at times. I think
Shuri was top draw. Instantly
that
top
exchange
draw.
with Windsor was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, I need to see that match on Dynamite. But what I was getting at, sorry, I don't want to just pick on, like, what, she's 24 years old and she's playing a character as booked by a man, you know? It's like almost like blaming an actress for a script, you know? Don't sing the theme tune on the way to the ring.
And wait to get to the pose bit before you walk, and
it was a bit much. There's a kick through, and I love how they revisited this bit as well. The Tekla Amanata story.
Oh God!
When they do, right?
I don't mind that because I think that's like
2 out of 3 falls or something.
What a brilliant use of the spade!
Yeah,
that was like a.
The spade is great.
Steve Austin sat on the post and Brett's music hits.
Yeah.
Like, all right, I got to lock in now. She's like, I'm being your spade. Everything's class. All right, I've got to have my fight now because we've been kicking each other.
I mean, there was a few moments where it's like you can definitely tell who the next part. And what are the chances that it's the again?
That's
if you do,
part of the fun.
I know.
That's the
not really.
You got to opt in, CG.
Not really.
I'm not talking to you, the rest of the WWE debut superstar. I'm talking to you, my friend.
Yeah,
you got to opt in. You got to buy in.
If you do it twice on the same show, I was like, all right, okay, well, this is Amanata, and I did have that sort of, and then this kick that Tekla throws at Amanata. Amanata's coming into the ring.
Yeah.
She doesn't have like any time to defend herself. And Tekla, with deliberate precision, misses her by a centimetre. It's like, you're going to take her right off. That was class. Got a bit long. Glad to see Athena win. And Athena versus the winner of the women's title match will be awesome. I've got no doubts about that whatsoever. Just if it was a little bit shorter, there was some fewer contrivances and the actual work, because I don't want to name names. There was 1 or 2 wrestlers who had a complete nightmare in there, like a nightmare, but I don't want to be nasty on a show that they probably really enjoy working on. If they have a nightmare on Wednesday, I'll pull them up. Because I'm just glad that this happened, and a lot of the women who've been struggling in the obscurity of Tony Khan's mind half the time.
Yeah.
Got 27 minutes. Too long. I don't think.
This went 27 minutes.
Do you feel it?
Nah.
You know who had a bad night? And she had an amazing one against Mercedes Money, and it doesn't matter. She is if there's any AEW wrestler who can, if you like, get away with not being amazing in the ring all the time, I thought Mina Shirakawa didn't have a good night here at all.
Do you think? Right.
She's so over.
This match might be the sort of perfect illustration of sometimes how our tastes completely veer.
I had 2 afternoon pints in the sweltering UK, no air conditioning sun. Maybe I was a bit too tired, but I thought the level of work was kind of jarring at times here.
See, comparison is typically the thief of joy. Here it was like the Amazon delivery driver of it, because I was glad to have it so separate from the men's one, for all the problems I had with the men's one were basically addressed in this one. Like,
asked and answered for you?
Asked and answered, Bristolian Redditor. Like, it was, so I loved Willow and Chris's little interaction, Tekla and Queen Amanata, the fans coming unglued for Harley Cameron's return in a face mask, no less, like getting this little event taking place in the middle of the match that was opportune for the wrestlers. I know you really do have to buy into the fiction and all of that, but as daft and as cheesy as it was, the first interaction between Tekla and Julia Hart as Jules Spades. And I just find little things that connect these little characters. This, as opposed to the men's mid-card.
This is your IKEA wrestling brain, this.
A bit. Like, as opposed to the men's mid-card, this is a division full of wrestlers that are over and are desperate to get to the next level of over. Like, I felt like I was watching a kind of bland, grey men's mid-card, because they all just wrestled each other in meaningless win-loss exchanges, versus a bunch of women that, through limited exposure on Dynamite and a bit more on Collision, have all gotten over and have got armies of fans desperate to support them to the next level. Mina Shirakawa.
If this is the lesson that should be taken from this show, you need to book the women more.
Yeah.
And I know we say this every single goddamn week and we have a featured segment for it, but I mean, the evidence yielded by this.
They're telling you here, right? The only people in the men's match that got pops that 3/4 of this field got were Brody King, like discounting MJF and Mark Briscoe, like from the main field, Brody King, not even Mystico. There's probably somebody I'm forgetting who was a surprise spot.
People love Bandito, bro.
Bandito. Yeah, Bandito. But, like, look at the response that, like, the pop that Willow got, the pop that Athena got, the pop that Thunder Rosa got when she came out and then brawled with Athena from carrying on what you said about Bandito and Takeshita.
Yeah.
But I have seen it. I was banging to getting a bit more of Thunder Rosa. And so with the
Tekla felt like a game changer during her entrance.
Great. Like,
she felt like someone could win this now.
Yeah.
That's what happened when she came out.
I thought Mina had a great night, and maybe I've just had the sort of blinkers on about the actual work, because I love the spot where, because Sky Blue was so constantly interfering, Mina thought she'd got it won. Like, that was just a cute little bit of business in the middle of the match where you can kind of get away with daft stuff. She was massively over. Like, she was hugely, hugely over. People were rooting for her to win. I was obviously looking past some poorer work. Sure, I don't know who sure he was before this. Love her instantly. Alex Windsor. Have limited exposure to her, but like lots to get excited about from this match. That like she's going to be an instant fit.
Like, I'm not being funny.
Division's in rude health, I think, despite some shonky work. Maybe
there's a little bit. This Windsor and Shuri, if they can get, Windsor signed. I don't know if Shuri's full time or what's going on there, but stylistically, in terms of what AEW fans like out of this women's division, like you've got to get your ass kicked in there.
Like 6 or 7 people
you've
out
got
there.
To get your
push them.
You've got to get your ass kicked. You've got to be able to look like you can just chin someone with a single forearm. Like, look who's got over post the Baker. Oh, she's a star, so we can watch her segments, because these fans were pretty quiet for a lot of the women's fair earlier on. Statlander, Tony Storm, Hater, Willow, and Mercedes.
Yeah.
Like the pure physical, like you've got to kick ass and get your ass kicked in there. Like Windsor, they could really do something with her, I think.
I think Aminata and Tekla are a really
Aminata as well.
They're onto a winner here. They're on. They've like maximized that minute.
That
and they've
match,
turned it into something. That's smart.
Part
work.
of me wants that match to get a TV main event treatment. If they say they did that all out, and people are like, oh, I really want to see that match, then the reality of, it's 4 hours and this is the 6th match, I wonder if they would get that, or if they just kick their heads off so beautifully that people would get into it regardless. That's the theme of this.
They must be fizzing with each other backstage. Like, this is brilliant. I can't, what have we stumbled / worked our way into?
That neck breaker they do every single time. The way Tekla moves her legs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the use of her limbs. Dare I say it, very different to when Generico was more like prone to big bumps and his legs and arms would go everywhere. Like Tekla's got that with those bumps. Very different wrestlers, but just the way they move their bodies is very similar. Athena wins.
The right choice.
The right choice. Lovely moment for her, because she has been in legit obscurity in Ring of Honor for way too long. Way too long.
Yeah.
So hopefully this is her hard launch into AEW proper. Right. I think we've got the retention. This is where we need to talk about the length of this goddamn show. I have had 2 beers in the hot afternoon sun. I was up at 5 a.m.
Dead life, am I right?
Dead life, am I right? I'm just a morning person generally, and I'm nearly 40 years old. As it was going through, I'm thinking, this is 5 hours there. This is 5 hours of a show. Scheduled to end at, 1 a.m. in my head? Yeah. At this point, I'm starting to really feel the length of this show. There are at least 2 matches that have gone, I would say, wildly over the length of time. And I know I'm a bit anxious about what's to come. I'm tired. This is the moment where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to turn this off. My stupid body will wake me up at 5 a.m. I'm going to watch the matches that I really want to watch with a fresher head. And then this went, Hurt Syndicate versus Jet Speed versus Patriarchy goes 19 minutes.
I was quite angry.
I didn't watch this live. I just went to bed. I woke up and I saw the fight run time, say 5 hours, 50 minutes. My first thought was, it can't have gone, including the pre-show, 3 hours and 50, because that means the 3 matches I'm kind of most looking forward to, other than the Osprey, Buck, Swerve tag, they're not going 10 minutes each. This isn't including the pre-show. This is 5 hours and 50 minutes. I've got some thoughts. They're not going to be a surprise to any long-time listener, right? My thought is literally every single AEW pay-per-view is too long. Every single one, right? There's invariably a match that would stand a much better chance of getting over if it wasn't positioned as a buffer, or if you remembered it was happening, or if it happened on TV. There's always one match that feels like a complete imposition on your time because you just want to get to the main event. And it's nothing against the wrestlers, sometimes not even against the story. It's just, I forgot about this one. I think I saw another prominent-ish Twitter wrestling person say, this is this is the one that I forgot was happening. There's always one. It's a thing. We should come up with a phrase for it. I reckon if there's any rule, because there's loads of people who are going off, it's too long, just don't watch it. It's like, no, dickhead, I want to watch it. That's the point. I'm not dedicating my time to watch this if I don't want to watch it. I'm saying there's got to be a limit.
Yeah.
5 hours, 50 minutes is pretty insane, and I never want to see it happen again. And on that, the fact that it might at next year's, the whole point is, right, I think the euphoria of the main event, the fact that the 4 matches, one, maybe not, the 4 matches people were hyped about delivered. And the heat was there in the 6th hour for this main event.
Yeah, this wasn't Becky, Ronda, and Charlotte.
No, it wasn't at all. That's a great take and example. WrestleMania 35 was insane. I was there. Jesus
Several
Christ.
WrestleManias became the conversation if this needs to be a 2-nighter. This was longer than all of those.
Yeah.
We had years
and
of
they
saying...
still, the one of the loudest matches you'll ever see, really,
yeah,
in terms of the finish. When the show length actively gets in the way of the atmosphere, because everyone's got their own limit, I would take a 3-hour AEW pay-per-view, let alone 4 would be my maximum, right? 5's out of control, 6 is, hopefully this is a generational show run, because I can't do this again. But at the same time, the heat that they got in the main event, I would describe this as bold, because we're not the only ones. It's not just the British YouTubers, by the way. As much as I had 2 beers in the sun, I wasn't like awake at 1 o'clock in the morning. You know, I was kind of like, I'm watching it at a normal UK time, and even I'm thinking some of these matches are too long, what we're doing. If the hard and fast rule is, if you've blown the crowd before the main event, your show is too long. They didn't do that.
Yeah.
They didn't do, I'm trying to be a little bit more like objective about things, right?
It's because the answer is both.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Like,
yeah. Having said that, I will get your thoughts in a minute, because I'm trying to complete mine, and I've got a scatterbrain. If the whole idea is All In is your WrestleMania, All In is the thing that you start saving your money for. It's I've got a lot of time commitments. Everything's expensive. I want to put this on the bucket list. Everyone gives themselves like an internal, some people even write it down. Like, I did WrestleMania when, me and my wife were just starting out really in our careers, or I'd been in a particularly great one for a long time. She was academic for so long. We didn't have the most money in the world. I thought, you know what? I need to do this once. Do you want to come with us? Yes, we did it. A big financial commitment, right? If AEW is going to present All In, is their big financial commitment, put this on your bucket list, spend a fortune to come along, you won't regret it. I reckon as the weeks and months go by, and you forget just how incredible that Hangman Page, John Moxley spectacle was, and you kind of start to think, when you're being rational, making pretty hard financial decisions, and you're weighing it up in your head, the thought of, that was amazing. The memories are kind of fading a little bit. Then there was a mid-dynamite here and there. That show was long as hell. The length, the fact that it's been discoursed, rightly or wrongly, and wherever you see fit on the divide, the fact that it's such a question every single time means it will invariably enter someone's head when they weigh up whether to go next year or not, of like, oh, it was amazing. God, it was long. And I think the length will enter people's heads more the next time they go for it. They almost got away with it, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
The length of this show.
I think they did. But like
the 4 matches in terms of crowd reaction, wherever you sit on the quality, felt epic, loud, everything in your head, spectacle and atmosphere-wise, what you wanted. The length of this show will start to like reveal itself when people are planning it. You never want to think, if this show wasn't too long, and again, they got away with it. If it was totally note perfect, no, everyone would just think, I'm going next year. Nothing can stop me. I think the length of the show will enter their heads at some point.
I read the comments. Sidge doesn't. But if you are...
I appreciate you for... just there's too many dickheads.
Yeah.
Just spoiling it.
If you are on our aces about the Brits moan about runtime, or podcasters the only people that moan, I want as much wrestling as possible. F off. And I can't swear properly today because I can't cut the swears and we haven't got a proper producer like Nicholas does a great job. Because this is an actual conversation with some earnest critique about it that we've specifically, I don't mind pulling the curtain back, put here because we don't want to be thought of as just people that whinge about having to watch too much wrestling with our privileged jobs, which is something we never, ever take for granted. I had to take a break. I was quite angry when this match graphic flashed up, having also forgotten about it. And I was like, kids, I'm sorry, it's bedtime.
It's bedtime.
Getting on for midnight.
Did you watch the rest of it in the morning?
No. I took a break. And do you know what? Like, one of those nights where it smiled on me. I sorted the kids out and I got some food or something. I came back into the living room, still on the big telly, and it was the bit of the match where
the German suplex.
Shelton German speedball back.
Oh my God. Oh my.
And I was texting a couple of people. This was from Nick, my cousin, who you met specifically, and he says,
lovely guy.
He goes, you've missed nothing. So I went back and just watched the next bit the next day. Be like, he was right. That was the point at which some stuff happened. So I was like, this is one of the nights where it's smiling on me. And it's like timing when you go to these events, like timing your toilet break accordingly. Yeah. Oh, thank God I got that one right, you know? And it was just, but I was quite cross at there. And truthfully, the next day, why I wanted to go back and watch it, because I was like, I bet you like
it's a job.
I bet you the Hurt Syndicate entrance was good. That was the thing I was actually excited. Not the first 10 minutes of this match where they go through the motions. It was like, I bet their entrance was pretty cool. And it was. But like
19 minutes for a match that in my head I was sure was going, or should have gone 10 before the big main event. You know what the thing about this match is? And it goes back to what I'm saying about these shows, how it's not even fair on the talent that you are trying to do a favor to by giving them time, this precious commodity that surely, with how switched on AEW is, you've got to be thinking now, loads of people think matches go long for the sake of it. What are we really doing here? Isn't less more? But Tony Khan's never going to learn that lesson. No, I know he's not going to learn the lesson, and you could argue that these conversations are thus pointless. He's actually getting worse with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I reckon, move for move, they do SmackDown Andre the Giant Battle Royal, where you get like a featured, people are interested in the go-home show. Let's put one of the big matches we were building on TV on this show. Now, it's a terrible example, but whatever.
It's become its own thing, though. People are like, that's on the Friday, we'll watch that.
Yeah.
I think that's a good example.
Yeah. You would, though, Dr. Fed.
Get a big trophy.
You put this move for move on a Dynamite main event, and it's nothing less than the narrative surrounding the Hurt Syndicate changes.
It's better than an All-Star 8, man, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Because it's got a bit of stakes.
It's a big stakes, big match,
I know you
title.
because of the post-match, but there's an example of the match in this spot.
I'll get to the post-match. I almost forgot. I was trying to forget everything Cope does. If you put this move for move, minute for minute, it's a Dynamite main event, you do nothing less, in my opinion, than actually change the narrative surrounding the Hurt Syndicate. Because I thought on its own merits, when it doesn't feel like, an obligation, not this one, this kind of potentially changed the narrative, and people start to realize, no, they can do good matches.
Best title defense.
Best
use of Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
In the moving parts. I totally agree. Best tag defense in the worst spot with the worst vibe. Like, this is the
crowd
best
were it's like this sort of silent agreement pact of, you making noise for this? No, it's going a bit long. That spot woke me up, and then the finishing sequence is good.
Monster the little guys, kick the bastard's ace.
Yeah.
Christian Cage. Swat the Fly is Nick Wayne.
Yeah.
Loads of fun stuff like this. Shelton was in the mood.
You put this on TV, and it's so fondly remembered. This is kind of something you didn't want to happen until it got great. Post-match, Nick Wayne turns on Christian Cage, summoning Cope with Spike. How many... So close to swearing there, bro.
Thank you.
How many freaking pops does this guy need? How many freaking times does he need to come out and soak up being Edge or Copeland? Come on, bro. Like, this... I need to get my pop, and I need to get my sustained pop. Oh, then I'll get on with the story at hand. Aren't you meant to be the 50-year-old grizzled? You can't be this grizzled and be a greedy pop bastard at the same time. One of the reasons why you're grizzled is because you've been around and you've seen things. Yeah, you've seen the logic of pro wrestling as you go out and save your mate. Go find yourself. I'm not being funny. Cope delivered that phrase when Wilborn's trying to be a Alan Partridge-esque dickhead on this podcast.
It was also the opposite of a mic drop because he literally dropped the mic before he delivered it.
Yeah.
Dropped the mic before he said the words.
Go find yourself. I wish the match was on a different night. I like the idea of Christian Cage going to have to redeem himself because obviously he does. All of this happened on Dynamite. The Dynamite after of you get a bonus title match from stuff we've been building and you get the Cope return. I'd have been in so much better place.
Nice main event angle for the first show as part of the... God, everything really is great. I am clearly...
Just too much.
I'm clearly just bound by devotion to Edge and Christian forever as a team that I kind of love this, you know. I am with you on Cope. I'm especially with you on Spike.
No, Spike rules when Mox bumps on it.
Yeah, don't like Spike. I can even extend latitude. You know when he runs out, he just bloody loves it. He loses him. So I can actually justify in my mind the bit where he runs to the sides. I need this. I want it. He's like consumed. He does. He kind of like, he screams it, doesn't he? Give it to me. Like, I sort of get that out of Cup. And that's the bit I can allow. He's got Spike with him, so you know he's coming to do the right thing. So you're like, all right. It's the bit when he's gone to the stage. Oh God, yeah, I've got to go and help Christian. Here I come. And he stops to do his pyro. You know when he does the... Oh, boo, 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 boo. That is the bit where I was like, all right, that's too... It's a bit like, you know, the other week where I was
How many
like,
pops, though? The guy's 50 years old.
Dancing to me. So there is a point where it's like the character...
One of them's in WWE and the other one's in AEW.
But I'm defending Cope to a point. It's like he runs the stage like, oh, it's all the people. Wait a minute, I'm here for those guys. Stop. That was a bit silly. That was the bit that was a bit too far for me. It's like... You're waiting for your pyro. At this point, like they could have drilled him 20 they're just hitting him. They're in the ring over and over and over again. Christian's brains are just splattered across the floor and Edge is like, I'm coming, give me a minute. Like nothing physically stopped the concerto other than, is he here yet? Like it's just the visual bit silly.
You just cannot be that grizzled veteran who needs to teach the young'uns the old ways before things get taken too far and then do the entrance equivalent of the most egregious spot fest you've ever seen.
I'm not trying to be Dr. Dub here. I think go find yourself. I was enamored by this because go find yourself. You cannot.
You get it? It's like it's a tweak on what you said earlier when they first interacted in AEW.
I hadn't even picked that detail up. But beyond that, right? You cannot. This Christian Cage character, you simply cannot have him be a babyface. Because the baddies have turned on him.
Yeah, I know.
Look at the life this character has lived, right? The idea that he goes from this maniacal
Christian Cage redemption tour could be fun.
In the black turtleneck to like Edge, like they've just started to make friends. They've just started to bond. Edge thinks he can trust him again, and like, but they're quite earnest because that's Cope, right? He's an earnest guy, and Christian's still a bit seedy. He's not yet got rid of the evil beard that all the AEW heels apparently need to get. Moxley got one, didn't it? It's that same sort of pointy beard. He's not quite shaved that down yet. And then Cope's like, no, I got you something. And it's like a box-like structure. Slides the box and Cage's like, well, what's this? And he opens the box. And it's those over-the-top round glasses. And it's like, from these two guys, Cope with Spike and him with a turtleneck.
The like juxtaposition could be fun.
Big red maple leaf neon 5-second pose guys against FTR in Toronto. Like, a little bit of that for me, you know. Like, it's CNC. It's ENC. Like, there is a window here for them to just nail this. And he finding himself is the route. and it was a callback. So they've kind of like, you guys. And like, even you should be able to appreciate the necessity of getting Cope away from things being so goddamn serious all the friggin' time.
Yeah, because you're a malcontent, Moxley. I see some things. I'm done. Now he needs to prove himself to me all over again.
I like where we're headed, and I actually think this is the exact way to do it. And patriarchy is okay. Like, I'm over Nick Wayne's big squats. I keep saying
Nick Wayne's face is great.
Yeah, but like they can deal with them as their first match back, and that'll be pretty fun too.
Yeah,
like Edge and Christian being like them coming out with the young guys against literally one of the youngest wrestlers in the world. There's like a lot of fun to be had here, I think. And I just
we'll see.
We'll see.
I'll
I know.
praise it if and when it happens.
Loyal to a fault for them guys.
If and when it happens. Now you get. Obviously, we've got Osprey, Swerve, and the Bucks earlier in the night, but now this is like the triple main event.
Dudley's got Hollywood. Welcome to the Pleasure Dome.
Indeed. So often, we don't have one main event, so we'll just pretend there's three. This is three main events.
Yeah.
This is the first time it's probably ever happened. The first of which, earning me a pasty, which I can get after this record.
Yeah.
Time depending.
Yeah. Why not?
Yeah, there's no reason why not, bro. You owe me.
And so if I can be asked to go, right? But I will.
It's literally.
Get myself some goujons.
It's 30 seconds away from our office as a Greg. So
I mean, we work in the Northeast, of course there is.
Indeed. Timeless Tony Storm defeats Mercedes Money to retain the Women's World Championship. Mercedes Money's entrance here is so goddamn clever and great. She has cheerleaders doing a dance for her, individually wearing all the titles she's accumulated.
Amazing.
Absolutely amazing. I should have pressed this button up at least 100 times throughout the show. I apologize, but boom.
Oh my God.
Absolutely great match. That I've got a wild.
Oh, sorry, I'm not even finished the Mercedes entrance. And then it's revealed that a ginormous fur coat robe has got the name of every wrestler she's beaten since arriving in AEW because she's the best. And then the Tony Storm color grade effect they had, where the only other color apart from the black and white to penetrate was the red. Yeah. So you had the red graphic and her lipstick and the red detailing on her gear and that. I was like,
it looked spectacular. This show.
I think it was Maury I was talking to in the office about this. Are you prepared to have the conversation? And I will rewatch this and just be proven wrong if it's not the case, that it at least equaled the bell pop of Omega Okada, because I think this massive when these two
that's
came
the big
together.
takeaway. Even more so than the content, I've got a wild analogy that I hope you're going to come with me on.
I typically do.
Okay. Even more so than the body of the match, like there was just this idea of, right, you've done the best possible job with these characters, this story, this division. Here's your reward. We are into this to a degree I could scarcely believe from minute one. Bell pop was
massive,
amazing. They did such an awesome goddamn job. I thought this was masterful professional wrestling, storytelling, character work, where Mercedes was like, I'll be the magnanimous one. Come on, I'll hold open the ropes. Basically being a really patronizing twat about it, twat. Tony, nope, under the rope I go, and then she starts doing her stuff. This match has this elegant, gripping structure and rhythm to it that I'm just captivated by, because it's different and it isn't, right? It doesn't feel like two wrestlers have thought, well, I'm the best in this division. No, I'm the best in this division. Our story should be us having a shootout to prove who is the best through some unbelievable, gratuitous, but you've earned them. I'm talking about the triple Storm Zero combination, right?
Not the simulated oral sex, which was also goated.
Yes.
In its own world.
Indeed. So you tell this story of like some of the moves that were busting out. So I don't even know the names of them, and I'm terrible with move names in the first place. Even Taz was like, I don't know what that was, but it ruled. They're telling the story as well that they are exhausting every possible move they've ever studied because you kind of need something new to put. And as it turns out, Tony won with an avalanche Storm Zero variation. This wasn't like, right, my turn, your turn. I'll counter this move, I'll counter that. It's basically 50-50 ratio of offense, shootout, the best stuff with the best pacing. Steal your finish, you steal mine, yada, 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 finish. You know what this felt like to me? In terms of work better, different because it's years removed. The story of Tony Storm just kind of beating her and beating her and beating her and like, no, I'm not going to be denied here. Yes, you've got your stuff, but it's felt like this Toni Storm is inevitable, and this is her destiny to beat Mercedes Money, which is such a great story to be able to execute as well. It was not to all come down to this and how amazing and how massive this match is in terms of it just felt like Toni's all the way through. Did you get that feeling or not?
What do you mean?
Like, it just felt like she was winning, but in a good way.
Yeah.
She was winning the match, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, what had I said in the preview? I'd never doubted that Mercedes was going to win. And then the match started.
And it was just like, oh, it's Toni.
Yeah.
It's Toni. And they did this unbelievable job of just building the idea of, oh, come on. Because I described it as, you know, the most arrogant basketball team in the 90s, or the Manchester United team, the sporting dynasty. It was about time you bloody lost. And they told you that story of, no, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
Is it happening? Over 25 minutes. Warrior Savage.
Oh, okay.
WrestleMania 7, where it's like, there's no chance Savage is winning this. He's just getting this deserved kicking. He's deserved for 2 years, and he's lost, and it was awesome. And now he's finally had to realize, oh, I should probably change my attitude. It felt like that in terms of, this is Toni's to win.
Yeah.
Thought this was great.
Do you know what helped as well? Was that, she's been accused.
25-minute drip feed of catharsis.
She's been accused in the past, Mercedes, of not exactly obscuring her boo-boo face. This wasn't just obscuring the boo-boo face. This was something we haven't seen in a long time from her, which is the crying face. She has not hidden her emotions when the nights have been big. I'm thinking the Iron Woman at Respect against Bayley, the main event of WrestleMania against Bianca Belair.
Yeah.
It's almost like, why not lean in? Like, you showing your emotion is a cool thing, not a sort of, oh, that's not the character. I like seeing how much this means to you. And it getting to her before the bell, despite the fact that she's supposed to be the CEO of Mercedes Money, and the tears were flowing, I was like, this is massive. Like, you might lose now, but I certainly wouldn't buy you, like, sort of not immediately bouncing back from the defeat.
She was almost laughing at Toni Storm's antics in the first 2 minutes. You could tell she was having, like, this night means
we're in
loads
this
to her. Yeah.
This is actually our life that we're living in this moment. Now, I thought this was transcendent stuff. And this is the weekend to discuss it, right? The women of pro wrestling at this level, and this is an indictment on pro wrestling that it's 2025, are still, in all the ways that they're marginalized, still marginalized to such an extent that there are Bibles worth of history still to be written in women's wrestling. It's not on, is it?
Yeah. No, of course not.
The things that are still to happen.
We'll still play the game even though this match happened.
The things that are still to happen for women are so vast and lengthy and unjust that the amount of times, especially as, like, here we are, the cis white males that dominate the coverage and dominate the industry, right? That you forget how momentous something can be. And then you are reminded over and over and over again. There was a frigging counter-programming show that we're going to talk about later on that existed for all the wrong reasons, that the women evidently decided, well, we're going to go out there, chip on our shoulder, and basically put on the show of the year again because we can. And here's
the WWE show of the year.
And here's an example of that. Like, I felt it in this moment. You can't work me on what's history and what's meaningful and what isn't. And to see them in the ring aiming, right, I love this, aiming and potentially succeeding, you know, your mileage may vary, to steal the show simultaneously from the company's main character's babyface ascension back to the top of the card from under the cloud that he's been under for 2 years, and, a retread of the greatest match of all time.
Yeah.
And working towards that goal, and in some people's eyes, maybe achieving it, was, like, glorious.
It was great.
Like, absolutely escape from prison, Shawshank Redemption, scream in the rain, catharsis.
Yeah.
I could not have loved this match more. Was it, for reasons that I look forward to getting into, I think this was my match of the night.
I can understand why it would be your match of the night. I can understand why all four of the big matches everyone was looking forward to was someone's match of the night.
Yeah.
Like, there was some ball-knower Twitter people who raved about Omega Okada in a way that they very contrarian thought, it's better than New Japan matches because of the certain elegant, slow burn, selling emphasis of it, you know? For very different reasons. And the range was fantastic of these big four.
What it's all about when you put a card like this.
Goddamn about. A better example than Warrior Savage was, this is probably more effective, even though I think the other match is probably a bit better. Omega Hangman Full Gear 2021 of that almost telling you this is the result.
Yeah.
but how to get there and how much you want it, and just building that idea of it's happening. Like the anticipation built throughout was fantastic. Some of the wrestling exchanges were great. The sense of occasion, every bit is good and as big as you thought it was going to be when they had that first face-to-face exchange.
We're going to talk about expectations in a second, but it shouldn't go undermentioned how big the ones
they've smashed this
set for themselves.
What a towering achievement of a match this was. A towering achievement of a match.
They bet on themselves the way they built this.
Yeah.
And then the way they executed. I couldn't have loved it more. And again, like I talk about the division and the gauntlet of, right, well, if here's the two undisputed top stars, ideal, because they're the two champions of the divisions, look at the raft of wrestlers desperate to get in there with them and be the next Tony Storm Mercedes next year.
Yeah.
How many wrestlers would have think, I want to be one half of that pairing?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's your job to knock the two best off the top.
Yeah.
Because if we're in 12 months'
Good
time,
luck with that.
if you're in 12 months' time, and a part of it is the institutional sexism against women in wrestling, but like at the moment, is there a bigger match for All In 2026 than Mercedes Tony 2?
I know.
There's not.
Not.
So that's your job. Like lofty as it is, that's your task.
I think
this was incredible.
If I know this is stepping on the dick of the preview, we've got a lot to go through, and we've taken a lot of your time already. I'm having Tony and Hangman interact in some way on Dynamite, you know.
Oh, that'd be so nice.
As your two division aces and champions, and like this feel like massive stars of like, look what we can do with these talents, you know. The penultimate match, the semi-main event, the second of the actual earnest triple main event. Kazuchika Okada defeats Kenny Omega. The big question, and what an unfair question to ask when it's a gift that you get in this, and it's the only question people had before, during, and after, was this a disappointment? On some level, it was always going to be. On one level, it was. On another level, I should have been feeling this match instead of thinking about how clever it was. This was, I reckon, this match was better in my reading of it, why it happened, what it might lead to next, than truthfully those things never entered my head when I'm watching the original quadrilogy, if you like, right? Kenny Omega's goddamn selling in this match was next level. Like, even the tiny little moments, not just, oh, I'm going to clutch at my stomach when I've done a move. That reduces it, but he was amazing at it. It's a bit where I can't remember the move, but instead of posting, obviously he posts seconds later because, like, in plain sight without you knowing, grabbing Okada's shins because he can't stomach the pain of going for it. This was so elegantly paced that it felt like 10 minutes had been chopped off it. I'm going to talk about that, and I think I'm reaching, bro. I think that was by careful, very bold design. There is a bit in 25 minutes where, like 25 minutes in, right, where this is very slow burn. The crowds were pretty much all the way. They see this as a huge match, which helps a lot. Even though it's not as good, obviously, as the New Japan matches. The Kazuchika Okada dropkick means more in this match than it does in any of them, because in the Kenny Omega Terminator dive has that, it's similar to the Takeshita match, which you could argue was probably better as this whole thing, this peaked higher in terms of the crowd heat and all the rest of it, of Kenny Omega, tell me now who was better at convincing you he's completely out of it and then making you so happy that he's back in the fight. That old magic spell of professional wrestling of, oh, he can still do moves, he's not completely dead and broken, and I'm so happy and he's going to win. Even though this match didn't meet my expectations, that his Kenny Omega's entrance was fantastic, and now coming around on the theme, I understand why most people aren't. His ability to make you think, oh God, he's really in pain. The true magic of the emotional core of selling. There's no one better at it right now than Kenny Omega. I have a parasocial relationship with the bloke, which probably informed my need almost for this match to be great. I think the pacing, there was a bit as well, really deep in, when for like 90 seconds the New Japan match happens.
Yeah.
Like the Rainmaker, Ducks, Snapdragon attempts. No, don't get me with that. There's 90 seconds where it's New Japan. And if they do that in minute 5, it would feel like, oh, you're just doing slow New Japan. Because I need Kenny Omega to be the old Kenny. Them doing 0.75 2018, 0.75 speed, 2018 sequence feels amazing because this was so great at when I did not, nor do I ever want to see Rocky Romero in the space of an Omega versus Okada match ever again. There were obvious problems.
Dirty politics, that is.
Before we get to the fact that it's not the same, the fact that doing it was such a risk in the first place. Before I get to my nice reading of the finish, even notwithstanding the fact that there was a few minor hiccups early, which was inconceivable in the original series. As nice as it was to see Jim Ross, and it really, truly was, and I thought he was great throughout, it's still not Don Callis peak commentary. It's still, the production was great. The direction in AEW in terms of the static camera shot has improved immeasurably from 2 or 3 years ago. It's still not the same. Rocky Romero had no business being out there. The One-Winged Angel, I thought Callis could have just waited an extra beat. So basically at one point, Kenny Omega, shockingly early, I'm thinking he's going to kick out.
Yeah.
Genuinely.
Okada's only counted it like once, isn't he, at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I thought that. I was like, oh my God, Sidgwick's thing is going to come true. And then we get into the
America.
That's the thing where you get up the gear.
We get into the American wrestling of it after that.
But I needed a bit more heat for then, so I was happy for it. You know, I was like, oh, it's actually going to happen in front of us, and we're going to remember this forever. You know?
Callis, I'm so glad that I would have called him Callis's legs. Callis gets the referee out by the legs. I thought, oh, that was like 2.4. I was like, oh, you could have timed that a bit better. Don't need Rocky Romero there. It's starting to feel like the bittersweet American version of this New Japan series. Then it starts getting absolutely awesome, like positively awesome for another 2-minute burst, and then it ends with one Rainmaker or 2 Rainmakers.
You got your knee, ripcord knee counter.
I
from
got
Rainmaker.
that.
That was nice. Yeah. It was vicious.
I refuse to believe that of all people, the best big match workers ever, if you know, I'd put them above Misawa, Kobashi, you know, the people like Undertaker and Shawn Michaels. This felt jarring in a way that they had to have known. The finish was like, it was starting to feel like there was a different kind of magic throughout. There was. I don't want to keep saying, it was 90 seconds here and 90 seconds there. I was with it, with a realistic gaze for the entire duration. There was a point, a sweet spot. I'm talking 90 seconds before the finish. Where I'm like, it's gone half an hour. Give me 10 minutes. Give me 10 minutes. Give me 10 minutes. This is getting there. This is getting there. And then very abruptly, and I would argue deliberately, gone. Finished. Oh, what? Okada's won. Again, I'm going to repeat myself at least 3 times here. And I'm conscious that we've gone very long. I refuse to believe they didn't know that. I refuse to believe.
It's not the first rodeo, is it?
No.
It's like they're going to...
Of all the wrestlers in the world, I would say they have deliberately, and I might be reaching, bro.
You know.
They deliberately went for this abrupt, not now.
Yeah.
It was getting there. Because my take on this was, I didn't want this match to happen realistically. As soon as Okada came in full time, I was like, I'm going to do, don't touch it, don't touch it, don't touch it. I went into this thinking, I don't even want to see 5. Just leave it as it is. To the finish, I need 6 tomorrow. I need 6 tomorrow. And I'm kind of going to be anxious if they don't touch it as a possibility on AEW TV over the next however. I think that, and again, this is reaching, they have deliberately engineered a finish that was abrupt and jarringly abrupt to make you think, you can't leave it like that. Do it again.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it was almost like self-sabotage. But as well, when you consider Mercedes Money finally lost, the CVP thing's gone with the Young Bucks, the Death Rider, Hangman Page is the main character again. A night of pure, emphatic finality. You probably needed this finish.
I think it's quite impressive. I'll say, I think it's more impressive than anything that happened in the match.
I understand, right, why people were like, oh, it was that. I can also understand, sorry, I will let you talk at some point. It's Kenny, I'm sorry. I can also understand why people who didn't like, those really militant, anti-modern content guys.
Yeah.
The likes on Twitter, they're insufferable. I can actually understand why they love this.
Yeah.
Even more so than New Japan stuff, even though it's like insufferable contrarian stuff.
The stomach is a limb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sorry, go on.
No, it's okay. We preview this, and the one thing, and we look for this out of AEW, which is to show us the thing we couldn't have called. We talked about how, because you posited a bloodbath. What's going to give this match its identity, right? Kenny Omega mentions in his promo, this is like a new Kenny Omega, and this is a new Omega Okada, basically. So we're thinking about that, and our head goes to, right, well, how is this match new in opposition to the 4 that came before it? Turned out it was new in that it was the beginning of a new story. This is not a continuation of New Japan. This is the start of the AEW leg of this potential all-time series of matches. I have a sense that at a bare minimum we'll get 3 of these in AEW, and the second one will build on the first.
Maximum 3 for me.
Maximum 3 probably. The second one will build on the first, and the third one will be the definitive one, and all of our dreams will come true, and it'll be throwing babies in the air. And I was thinking about it like Okada's now, so it's 2-1-2 in terms of the stats and the data. So you go to the C2 and you have them draw 2-2-2, and then the last match is the actual decider, and it's the best of the AEW lot, and they've kind of got intra-match stories from the AEW ones that you can also draw from the New Japan if you want to, and you kind of have a best of both worlds. Expectations have been measured accordingly by where each wrestler's at this point, and I think this was bold and ambitious enough to point towards that third match in AEW as it's the best of what they've got left.
Yeah.
It'll never be 1, 2, 3, and 4, but that doesn't mean it can't be. Like, Rocky V was a total Turkerino, but Creed 1 and Creed 2 were pretty cool.
Yeah.
Like, there is a Creed 1 and Creed 2.
I need the 6th match. I never thought,
I think they're going to draw in the C2.
In my head, when I was going through this, I don't really want to see it. I wouldn't touch it. I thought, even if this is the most worthy successor imaginable, knock out the park. And maybe that's not a defense of this match, and they should have probably gone for it.
It was good. It was, it was well executed stuff. It was still the Omega Okada brilliance of God. There is something about their chemistry together, their bodies.
It's the magic, isn't it?
Yeah, I like watching them entangled in pro wrestling. There was one scabby V trigger.
One. And there's one where he almost looked like he's broke his nose, but he didn't because he's Kenny Omega.
Yeah, but I remember in that one thinking, am I supposed to again, I'm in my brain, am I supposed to read that as Kenny's he's just not got it? And then he just hit him with another one. It's that was just a bit of a flub. He just absolutely murdered him.
Not every V trigger looks amazing anymore.
Yeah.
That was when I first started to realize, grateful with the time you've got with Omega at this point. It sounds like he's in a
no, I know, but that was the standard. Again, this match was sold on the standard being the highest of all time. That's its own pitch.
I think it was always going to be weird.
Yeah.
Always going to be weird. And in a way, even if this is not the deliberate story told, in a way, this was the perfect match to make you recalibrate your expectations ahead of the real Omega Okada AEW quiz.
Yep, I agree.
I would say there was something about the rhythm in that. There was something about that made me think if anyone is bold and clever enough to get it at that second of, we're getting close to the promised land. I
like a wrestler telling me that I'm the wrestler, mate. It's my job.
Yeah.
I'll show you how this works.
They're
not getting backstage and going, wait, this is the best match of all time. We've nailed it. And then they go online. Saying it was abrupt.
Yeah.
What? They know that.
I know, but you're not get irrational. Anyway, there are absolutely no qualifiers. There are no caveats. There is no reaching brew. There is no potential bargaining about the main event. Hangman Page beats John Moxley in Texas Death in 35 minutes. Oh, this is absolutely phenomenal. One of the best spectacles in pro wrestling history in terms of emotion, bombast, BS, violence, everything. Need I say more? This match, it did.
It just worked.
This had favorite anecdote, or one of our favorite anecdotes on this podcast was Dave, who never gives his ratings away on radio. Was like talking about John Moxley Ishii 2019 G1 of. I knew it was a great match in the first 17 seconds. Where you get that ultimate feeling of, oh, this is can't fail. Get in. Just watch the rest of it. I didn't have that with Omega Okada. Obviously, I've got this very heightened thing with Kenny. Not necessarily with these two wrestlers, even though they're fantastic and I love them. As soon as that fork with surely the blade attached, or he's pre-bladed. Yeah. I don't know how the magic works. I don't want to know how the magic works, but it's one of those options.
Stabbing rather than slice and dice, isn't it?
So it's that. So it's either he's done it beforehand and just fork it up some, whatever. Fork to the forehead, in the first minute, and his head's just red hot. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Press that during Omega Okada.
Oh, yeah.
That's when you know.
Yeah.
I still think they engineered it, but whatever. They have this incredible death match. Like, Moxley takes a bump on two chair backs next to each other. It looks vile. It's gross. It's pretty heavy-duty brawling and stunt work. And didn't they
do that in the first Texas Death?
Yes.
And this time, Hangman spotted the opportunity to rearrange the chairs to get, because he remembered from the last time.
Yeah.
Oh, it was lush.
So lovely little callbacks and deft touches.
Yeah, there was a couple of those. Because you know me, I was thinking, I think I'm getting bored. I think we're moving from spot to spot. But the few times at which they put those little details, and I was like, nah, you are locked in here.
You're locked in. It was Hangman's night, and Hangman was great. John Moxley's heel performance in this match was completely, even if I think the last 2 or 3 months of Death Riders has been real goddamn strong. The last 3 weeks, amazing. Even if it was crap and then he did this, you'd think, all right, that was worth it. He was unbelievable as this violent, invincible thug. Felt like his physique had changed almost.
Yes, I agree.
It felt like his physique had changed almost in terms of the sheer presence that your mind projected a different physique on this guy. Like, he looks like someone who could never be beat.
His relationship with Mina Shirakawa, with Marina Shafir was brilliant.
She's been amazing as well.
The two of them together, in sync. The way in which he placed her on a pedestal rather than the other Death Riders to be the go-to. And the fact that,
that's clever as well. I'm not getting Wheeler for this job, and I need Marina for this.
And you're the one that's going to help me win this. Stuff like the bucket of glass. Oh, they've hit it under the ring earlier on, but this idea of there's just these evil bastards that have made this playground theirs rather than Hangman Page's. The two of them in sync was so great.
We've talked,
especially because of the finish.
Yeah.
Well, I can rely on you. What?
Yeah.
You're handcuffed. This is the one thing we didn't want to happen.
The thing about the glass is that usually we know it's sugar glass.
Yeah.
And we've been here before. Was there sort of, I don't know the magic, but they'll do something vile to make you think, the next relatively safer worked versions are just as bad because we've established the tone. Was there real glass or something put somewhere because there was a gash on Moxley's head that the fork didn't produce, that looked like it was 2 inches long? I mean, amazing.
Or some barbs, maybe. Some sharper barbs.
Something that is made an all-time great Crimson Face into something bordering on the perilous. So they have this match. It's absolutely great. And then the shenanigans start. The Death Riders come out. It was Osprey who comes out first, Pillmanized.
The threat they were prepared to neutralize as opposed to the ones they weren't.
Yeah. Then if I get the order wrong, I watched a lot of wrestling and I'm pretty goddamn tired and we've got yet more to go. The one thing, I understand how impressive it was that he climbed Everest and cut a promo for the story on top of Everest. As cool as it was, that was the one jarring moment where I thought this is feeling produced, which is the one thing that I was wary of them doing Avengers in the first place.
Needed lights out, screen, lights on, Darby's on the apron, but then you don't get the magic of the rappel.
The rappel.
So what's the
rappel's great because you're like, oh my God. So basically, if you haven't seen it, Darby comes on the screen. It's a bit jarring. It's the one thing that feels a bit too produced because there's no entrance cues. They are very careful to do their own distinct, for lack of a better word, more organic version of pro wrestling bollocks, which is obviously the least organic thing possible. Is it Darby, then Danielson. So Osprey,
Darby Video, Danielson.
Danielson in a Blue Panther mask, 24 hours after saying, yeah, they don't want us to do the yes chant. Yes, 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 this place is going absolutely ballistic for this. Ballistic. Like 6 hours in, a smorgasbord of pro wrestling violence. Some of it was grotesque. And then the BS, the pyro and ballyhoo. Danielson looks like he's the best in the world for 2 minutes with these psychos. He just looks amazing. Takes off the Blue Panther mask. It's him. Then you see Darby rappelling down from the roof of a baseball stadium.
Yeah.
Then he starts kicking ass and clearing the field.
It took a while, but you got to be...
I loved it. I loved how long it took, because Moxley looked like he was so great in this match that I could never think, oh, he's an idiot for not turning around. I'm like, Moxley's amazing. I can't take my eyes off him. To Darby, the fray starts to get cleared. Then the match resumes. It's not just, oh, I've done this, now do this. Yeah. I loved how they kept going back to the match, because the match really mattered.
Yeah.
Hangman Page. I know people have a problem with deathmatch wrestling, or they don't like it very much. They find it too gratuitous. The assembly's obvious. The key here of the Texas death and AEW's version of it, there were so many times where I thought, Hangman Page, you're not going to stand up in time. Because he gets his ass kicked.
Oh, yeah.
The nail board stuff, right? Where John Moxley has killed this guy so much that 9, he's still lying on his back. As the tut is leaving your mouth, he's not even staggering on his feet. Like, get up, idiot. Mm-hmm. Come on, Hangman. Everyone likes you. Everyone loves you.
Because he's dead-eyed Marina through the table.
I'm getting all sorts wrong here.
Now just 2.
The dead-eye through the table on Marina, by the way, was the perfect. I did the buckshot. That was it. Well, that was that one sort of grabby, bit bold to go with this, but we're selling pay-per-views. It's a goddamn business here, folks. And he just dead-eyes it through the table. I'm like, yeah! Amazing.
And she's got the key.
She's got the key to the briefcase.
It's like, yeah. But this idea, like, everybody has been neutralized.
Yeah.
And we all know the one person that could be left for Hangman, but we don't know because it's him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they do all this. So I'm not doing a very good job of the dramatic reading. Anyway, a nail board comes into play. We know how the physics of the nail board work and why it's been a carnival trick dating back since the days of the carnival centuries ago. Surface area or whatever. That goes out of your head when you see a paradigm shift going through. I was like, he's going to get...
He's impaled.
He's going to get impaled. That's his head. I don't know how they did that.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I had a freaking heart attack watching that spot. And then that informs one of these 9.99. Oh, God, he's still in this. This entire building is going insane. It's 6 hours in. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's a certain point. I've got this all wrong in my head. Mox is like, I want him to sniff that belt that he can't get. So he dispatches Marina out to the timekeeper's table to get
the one run you forgot is the Young Bucks.
Right.
You little bastard.
So after, all right, yeah. So after everything you think, all right, okay, neutralized. The Young Bucks come out.
With nothing to lose now.
Nothing to lose now, other than you've taken everything from me. Fuck it, I'm going to take everything from you. Is this when Swerve comes in?
They've like powdered to the floor because he's going to get him with a chain.
Yeah. So
they've taken Hanger out. They're on the floor being like, finish it, Mox, get it done.
Mox.
And then Hangman keeps getting up and they're like, well, I want this guy to stay down. And then he's like, get the case.
Get the case. So Marina gets the case. Then she goes, what? She's been handcuffed. What a risk. This goes wrong in wrestling all the goddamn time.
Yeah.
All the goddamn time. And then Nana comes out. By the way, the super kick on Nana during the tag match.
Yeah.
We got one of the loudest reactions I can remember. Sorry, I forgot about that.
Nana is the moment you know.
It's happening.
And that's what's so cool. It's like he's the reveal of, oh my God, it means it's actually going to happen.
Yeah. That was so clever, that.
Yeah.
Because Nana being there first, that's much better than Swerve just coming out, isn't it?
It is. Because you want
because you take away the expectation and you build the anticipation.
It's better than Swerve's entrance music hitting.
Yeah,
it's real.
Much better than that.
Yeah,
I mean, he's been hiding under there for 3 hours or something. It's still a bit silly, but it's fine. I think it's better because people aren't going, all right, okay, let's wait for Swerve. It'll be fun. It's the
Yeah.
It's like Christmas.
You get a few seconds where he all gets being
he's
on
been.
Yeah.
He's been. I'm getting loads of stuff wrong here, but then Swerve comes out, kicks the Young Bucks' ass, then like with a nice little expression on his face, like, "Go on, Hangman, you finished the job."
The chain that Hangman left him after their conversation.
Yeah.
So he drills the Young Bucks.
Drills
and
the
then
Young Bucks.
Slides it into using.
Slides the chain. John Moxley during this goddamn finish. I don't want to look at where the chain is. And the genius is, it's like the sleight of hand. It's the magic trick. You are misdirected from it. Because I reckon if you study the tape, a little boring prick, it's not really tight around his neck. John Moxley sells the resulting hanging after taking
well, this is it, right?
After taking a buckshot on the nail board.
So he's learned from the first Texas Death to counter it.
Yeah.
So Hangman buckshots him on a nail board and does it again.
Yeah.
It's like, you're not strong enough to counter me anymore because I've just done that.
The same buckshot that Mox has been terrified of
Yeah.
throughout the entire build.
He had one answer for the first choke because he remembers losing that first time.
John Moxley selling this is one of the best 10 seconds of anything I've ever seen in my goddamn life. He looks like he is in the throes of a very violent shoot death.
Well, he never accounted for it. He accounted for everything else, and he
Yeah.
never accounted for Swerve, and he never accounted for this happening twice. He had one counter in him, and the panic. Oh, I thought I had it covered.
But it's honestly, I would say it's a bit more than that. It's like this guy looks like he's dying.
Well, yeah, that as well, yeah.
Thrashing about like it's a public lynching, and he's like an execution, and he's going to die in that moment, and it's pure terrified survival. And the way he violently jerks his body around, it's like, you know, when you legitimately see footage of, all right, we've got the gator that was spotted on your lawn, and we've got the animal control service, whatever they're called, and they put the little hook around its neck on the chain. But this gator is like moving its head around. It's like, oh, God, it's going to get free. John Moxley looked like a wild animal getting... It was unbelievable.
The timing of the tap was impeccable.
Timing of the tap was great. It's like a little baby, basically, like this small.
It's all come down.
All
around
come
you.
down.
You're like,
the best to go from the plastic bag to this, to the best bookends for a heel character of all time, even though it's not been all-time great stuff throughout. So those two things were great. What I want to say, one more thing. I'll get all your thoughts. Hangman wins. Justin Roberts waits until he's retrieved the belt from the briefcase to announce him as the champion. Hangman Page is in tears, and all I can think about was good on you. I don't want to get in, especially after how long this podcast has gone with my particular colleague. I don't want to go into CM Punk.
We should, though, because I thought about it too. He's the real Cloud.
This is the real Cloud.
Swerve is the tree, but they've basically fictionalized the real thing here.
Hangman Page bursting in tears. He's probably looking out in that moment. They've got, 25 to 30,000 people in a stadium. They're all there really to see him get redeemed and triumph and prevail. And this fictionalized version of the character they've done is such a great version of it. This guy's in tears. You cannot tell me that two things haven't happened. One, in his darkest days, when he's kind of like in and out of AEW a little bit, like emotionally and physically, sometimes he just wasn't there. Remember, it was like, where's Hangman Page and why haven't they written him out? And all. Remember that period?
Yep.
So he's been absent-minded from it, physically not there, talk of being checked out or whatever. There have been times he has had nights, I'm certain of it. I don't know, but I'm certain if that makes any sense, where he's thought, it's fucking all my fault, this. When there's been a mid-Dynamite or like another crap rating or like a February 2023 or like one of those late 2022 ones where it's like, what's going on here? Or even when enough time has passed, but Collision is ongoing and it just keeps getting opened up, and like the sentiment surrounding AEW's never been worse. He's probably a nice thing. This is all my fault because I said that. It's not, and it never was, and it's a complicated story and all those things. I'm just saying he must have thought, oh, fuck no. We had the golden ticket of the best promotion, a unicorn, a billionaire, and I'm the one who's broke it. Even though I don't think that's true at all, I'm thinking he's thought that. And in that moment when it's like, no, it's all come back, the feeling, I'm the one who's orchestrated it, kind of. And all of that's in his face. It's like, it's so moving to me. It was it was unbelievable. I can't believe it. I loved it so much.
Like Swerve and Hangman, For those that don't know, when we say things are the tree, we used to refer to Roman Reigns as the tree
Yeah.
because of how so many things bounced off how he behaved for like a 4-year period and all the stories that spin off. And I, months and months and months ago, said, I think it's Swerve and Hangman, and I think they're the tree, and I think they're going to make the difference. And I think the show is evidence of that. Not just because they were involved in the finish, but look at the sort of moving parts and how it's related to this one rivalry and how it's pulled everything together. As often happens in wrestling, by the way.
Yeah.
Brett and Steve Austin is another example. Sometimes when the tree is that strong, branches. Hangman Page, within the fiction, getting to say the words, "You came into my house."
Yeah.
You know?
Aye.
Like, and being able to channel that anger and being able to spend 2 years, like, you came into my house, and people cheer you, and you came into my house.
Yeah.
And this is my fault. It's not that far away, is it? It is not
There's
that
been a
far
lot
away.
of subtext.
The cloud is the same, the time period is the same, but the need to fictionalize it and make it make sense for this catharsis to be as powerful
They had
as
a
it was.
trial run with BCC versus Elite in 2023. It didn't work.
No.
This has worked amazingly
This
well.
is the one. Like, you can flip it the other way, by the way. Like, Cody Rhodes. Like, I want to be the guy.
Yeah.
I want to be the guy that makes all this make sense. WrestleMania 40, finish my story. He wanted to finish it somewhere else, but wrestling has this way.
Yeah.
And like, Hangman's had this here. This is pro wrestling. This is what I will watch this for the rest of my life for. You don't get to say that too often. We are blessed, and I know I've said that to you probably 10 times in all the time we work together. So the turnaround is more on moments like this. But absolutely, this is what you watch for. If you're not getting the feelings out of this, I can't help you.
Yeah.
I didn't even love elements of the match. I would show you a text message exchange where I'm saying, Nicholas, I'll be honest, I can't be out. It's 1:30 in. I can't be asked for this. Get to the next way. I think my words was along the lines of get to the BS.
Yeah.
Because I know it's coming and I'm super excited for it. I'm so jazzed, far out my sofa for it. But like the weapons exchange, I could kind of give or take some of it, but I never felt it wasn't worthy. And I never felt they weren't telling a story. I like, there was an inadvertent, the one for me was like, there was an inadvertent reveal of the bed of nails. So when the wrestlers pull it out, you're like, oh, it's a bed of nails from 10 minutes ago. But it's like, that's, if I can be critical of one thing, in all of this praise for Jon Moxley, I am left asking myself, has he got a great straight one-on-one singles match left in him? I'm not sure.
Oh, he has.
I don't care because this was incredible.
Oh, he has.
This was incredible. This was the measure of the man for me. And to your point about the Death Riders being as good as it's been, how do you then pay it off? I was forecasting that he might turn babyface in Cincinnati when the Death Riders abandon him. AEW, show me how this Jon Moxley even faces the Death Riders. How does this Jon Moxley look them in the eye? I love that they've created that. Look at what the Death Riders did for him. Claudio, I thought, really bowed up to his role he was given here with the attack on Joe and the attack on Osprey.
The blood on him looked amazing, didn't it? Like the other people's blood on his gear.
He's going to want to batter Jon Moxley for this and has got to bite his tongue because Moxley's the okay boss, but there should be a real tension that you can play with now because Claudio doesn't do all this for the man that panics like a baby with a chain around, the whole thing.
They have to wait for Mox to show emotion.
Yeah.
And then realize,
there's some good stuff coming here.
Yeah.
Like that ends all this. We talked about the music. I think you're right, by the way. I think it probably should have been old music for the entrance, Mick Foley, Mankind 96.
30,000 screaming maniacs.
However, the pop when it hits.
Yeah.
The pop in my house and in my pants when he finally switches the palette and he comes out in white.
His gear, by the way.
Oh my God. And you know he's doing it for the blood, but like for years and years and years, there is a tweet. I want to say I put it out there in 2021. Maybe it was like the day that Hangman finds the reason for the palette swap. There was some wordness and it was like, and he goes all white and it will be for like, we're all just going to like faint and pass out with the majesty of it. He looked absolutely incredible.
I love the pattern on the sides as well.
The pattern on the sides that matched the fringe of the jacket and the fact that the beard was at long last returned to the Hangman Page of old. This looked like Hangman Page wrestling Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega.
He's the best details guy now in the world, undisputed.
Let me bring our worlds together. As we often said, God, Punk and Omega would be good. God, Punk and the Young Bucks had so many similar ideas. Punk and Hangman think about their attire in the same way.
Yeah.
I wish Punk wasn't such an honorary old arsehole because there were so many more things in common with the Elite and things that separate them.
Yeah.
And it's never going to be. But like, the Swerve payoff was handled to perfection, like to absolute perfection. We all fantasy booked a million different ways. And then on Collision, the little dropping of the chain and the little understanding and the communication. Because Swerve there, like, arms forward, being like, all right, and cowboy, this is your night. It took for 48 hours early for them to have the understanding. And do you know what that mirrors? Do you know what that wonderfully, wonderfully mirrors in terms of go-home angles? Hangman Page confront the Young Bucks before Fullgate 2021.
Yeah.
At the last moment. Don't.
Yeah.
We are done.
We are done.
Do not. This is about me and Kenny. The same thing happens all over again, and it's with Swerve. Hangman Page, the fully formed Hangman Page, understands how to conquer his demons and how to deal with difficult situations, and to see that play out the same way twice, albeit with like different opponents. Like the Hangman Page character remained loyal to itself to the very end, and I just love that they got there. I cannot wait for this title. This has all the magic of the first time he beat Kenny Omega.
More, I would say.
But it's with the benefit of what we know now and what they're going to try and get right that they didn't the last time. Back then, it was like, well, what now are we going to get? There's less naivety now.
Yeah. The last one was probably maybe even more impressive because it was pure fiction and it had all of that emotionally resonant effect on people. But this one's more powerful, again, when he bursts into tears. Because he's quite aloof. Mm-hmm. He's guarded. Yeah. He's not on socials all the time. He's got this aloof quality to him. This talk of like, you know, does he even want to, like, the elite were like, oh, do we make a decision? They're not like, we love this and we've been passionate about it forever, you know. Hasn't done a great deal of media. There was that period where he was like, where's Hangman Page? People should be asking, where's Hangman Page? Yeah. To see him actively just like be completely repaired as both a fictional character and a professional wrestler was overwhelmingly moving.
Speaking clinically, it was his job to match the energy of the fans.
Is that your catchphrase as Dr. Fed?
Yeah, there you
go.
Can
you speak clinically?
Like, but to make it a bit more sort of boring, his job in that moment as a pro wrestler, as a performer, was to match the energy of the crowd, seeing the belt come out the case. So how do you do that? You break down in tears. Yeah. Like, he can't stand there and cheer and pop like we all are, but he can emote in a different way. Yeah. And it is elements of it will probably be informed by reality. Like, it was amazing.
I've never been so sure of another person's mental state. Of like, he's probably thought, oh God, to think I don't think he did nearly break it. It would have been fine.
They never gave up on him, and they never gave up on me. And like,
unbelievable stuff. Let us know your thoughts, because we've gone ages. I'm actually getting a little bit hungry now. On All In, it was really good. On All In, text S, either in the comment section below or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Whilst you're there, you can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
You can follow me at Sidgwick. If you like both wrestling companies, there are only two. We've got coverage of Saturday night's main event and Evolution coming your way later this afternoon. So the pods will probably appear around about the same time.
Audio today, video Tuesday.
All right, okay.
Yes.
Well, he's more of the production side. I'm more the talent on this side of things. Thank you very much for joining us. Thank you very much to Hamflett for joining me today as well. Subscribe to the pods, because you get this stuff daily. You get daily wrestling podcasts. That's on the agenda for later. Thank you again for joining us, and we'll see you soon.